Amanda, I really enjoyed talking to you. Again, thank you very much. Really appreciate you. And your book is out now, Amanda Knox, free, My Search for Meaning.
Yeah, if anyone wants to reach out, I'm at amandaknox.com. It's pretty easy.
Okay. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you.
So much.
Thank you. It's a lot of fun.
Thanks.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Train by day, Joe Rogan Podcast by night. All day.
Knuckle Sandwich is a sandwich shop in Austin.
I heard about it today.
It's legit.
My pilot calls me and says, some of those guys your brand out there. I'm like, what's it called? He goes, Knuckle Sandwich. I'm like, go figure.
Well,
but I heard it's good stuff.
Yeah, it's real good. There's some
Can we smoke in
Michelin
here?
starred. What's that?
We smoking?
Oh, yeah.
Everything goes in here?
Yeah. Whatever you want to do.
So that,
Just don't shoot heroin on camera.
I think we're going to be able to pass that.
So what's happening, man? How are you?
Well,
There we go. I got one, thanks.
I really appreciate the invite.
My pleasure.
This is a long time coming. I've been waiting for this.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah. I mean, especially all the influence you've had and things you've done. And I know the funny side of you. I know the UFC side of you. But watching the podcast and seeing all the characters, and I was just watching the Bill Murray interview the other day, and I just look at it and I go, man, to hear those stories talking about Hunter and just all that and all the stuff. I mean, it's pretty, you got to have your mind blown by now.
Yeah, my mind's been blown out. It's kind of overblown at this point.
It's huge.
Yeah.
I mean, I think about what you did with Trump and all that influence that you made, and you called it straight up the line. You want to come on the show? You want to do this? Let's do it. And took the time to do it. I think it was a huge impact. I think that we look at all the people that you've given a chance. You've given them a platform. And I think that's really, it's fair of you. And the way you interview, the way I see it from, doing a few interviews, you let people talk. You let them speak their piece. You continue to help them through not getting stuck on one thing. You navigate them pretty well. And it's really, it's from a guy that's, in the business, not to this level, but guy to the business, it's respectful, man.
Thank you. Thank you very much. What is Knuckle Sandwich based on? You even have your chain is a Knuckle Sandwich chain.
It's all has history, just kind of like as I toured the museum today.
Chef's hat with a skull.
Started with that tattoo. One of the first tattoos I ever had, culinary gangster. So my buddy Joe Leonard, Monkey Wrench Tattoo, great friend of mine, did my first tattoo. And he made that. He says, I have this drawing for you. I want to show this to you. And it's pretty, skull, chef. All right, let me check it out. So I don't put a tattoo on until he draws it on first. I have to have it on for a while. Like I have to look at it for a couple of days. Like, hey, does this resonate with me? So that's how it started. This way before TV, way before any of this. And when I got on TV, when I got on Food Network, they were going to send me my first paycheck. You wouldn't believe how much I made that first episode. It was just huge money. $1,250 an episode. When you get started. And I wasn't planning on TV. But anyhow, I came back. I had all my buddies around my table. My house was kind of like a soup kitchen. All my buddies, come by, and someone will bring, crab. Someone will bring some steak, whatever. And so I'm sitting there with all my buddies. I said, hey, I got to think of a name for my TV, like my other business, because my restaurant business had a business partner, and I didn't want the checks to come to the business. So I said, what do you think? My one buddy, Dirty, says, and my nickname is Guido. He says, how about you make us something to eat? And that'll give us like some food for knowledge. And then, and I said, and I'm serious. I want to come up with a name for the company. I got to get this. I got to get my $1,200 check sent to me. And I go, hey, Dirty, how about I give you a Knuckle Sandwich? And he goes, that'd be a good name. That's it. That was it. And it was originally that. It was originally a sandwich with a ring on it and a sandwich made out of money, and that was Knuckle Sandwich. And then it just kind of all evolved from there. And so all my companies go under the brand of Knuckle Sandwich, but I never put a product of wine or tequila or anything I ever did. And we started making these cigars, And this guy that I'm partners with is such a guru, a guy named Eric Espinoza. And we sat there and talked about it. And I have another brand called Flavortown. Like, Flavortown's too whimsical and too, it's got to be something. I didn't want to call it Guy Fieri. I didn't want to have my name on it. I don't want to do stuff that, like, buy this because it's my, it's my name. I just want to do something, and we all thought about it. We said, cigars are that good. He's such a badass. It's called Knuckle Sandwich.
Did you have any idea in the beginning of your career of being a TV guy? Like, how did all that stuff start? Because it's a weird world. I had a conversation with Jose Andres about this.
I watched it.
The emergence of the celebrity chef is like, it used to be like Julia Child, like way back in the day. And then
This one?
yeah, and then I guess there's a few other people, but they never were like cultural figures. I guess Julia Child was. She was probably the only one.
Well,
I don't know. She was really it, right?
Yeah, that was PBS. That was PBS. That wasn't people really blowing it up. I watched it because I loved that I was in love with food at a young age. I was one, because I didn't really experience and like exactly what my parents were feeding me. My parents were really good cooks. They weren't in the cooking business, but yeah, this whole food thing. Before I got on Food Network, I had never watched the Food Network, and not because I don't believe in it. Food. Food's my epicenter of what I do. But the last thing I was going to do, working 7 days a week, 12, 13, 15 hours a day in the restaurant,
come home and watch more food.
Is go and watch somebody make me, a pot pie. I'm like, I got enough. Plus, I also didn't really have a true understanding of what was going on. Knew who Emerald was. You couldn't.
Here's another one. Remember when he had that sitcom? Where his tagline, bam! Like, they decided to try to put that into a sitcom.
We just had that conversation the other day. We just had that conversation. But Emerald's the OG. I give such appreciation and accolades to everybody that did it before me. There were so many people that helped pave the way in one style or another. And some in TV, some literary, some, just living keeping the energy of the industry alive. Because if you're not from the industry, you don't quite exactly get what it is. But it's a pretty, it's like understanding UFC. Mm-hmm. The bigger fan you become of something, the more you start looking at it and just going, it is so much more than what you're watching in the ring for the next 20 minutes. It's really deep, and there's so much more, and there's so much. It's not just lifestyle, it's attitude, it's energy, it's connectivity, it's family, it's community, it's all that kind of stuff. And
so did you, like, how does one go from being a chef to being a TV chef? Like, what was it? Did you just get an audition? Like, did they contact a bunch of chefs? Like, who's got the wackiest hair and who looks like they would be good on TV? Like, how do they figure something like that out?
this is about the most whack story in the world. So, all right, so never graduated high school. Dropped out of high school when I was 16, went to France, was an exchange student. I'm going to give you a little bit more of the backstory than you probably want, but I'll kind of give you the quick version. So when I came back from France, I was supposed to go to my senior year in high school, and I wasn't really super interested in going back to high school. I just lived in France in a boarding house and went to high school, and I didn't even speak French. But my parents were really open-minded, and I'd saved my money, and they said, if you can pass a year of French at the junior college at 16, and you can pass the class, and you can figure it out, I guess. So I went and lived in a boarding house and went to high school. Came back my senior year, I just was not interested in going back to high school. So I went to junior college, finished junior college, went to UNLV, got my degree, graduated a little bit early, and went and ran restaurants for other people. And I was 26, moved back to the wine country up to Northern California, where I'm from, opened my first restaurant. Had a bunch of restaurants with a buddy. Things were great. Did exactly what I wanted to do. Wanted to be, have a great wife. Wanted to be a great dad. Wanted to have my own restaurant. That's all I wanted. Not that I was short-sighted and stuff. Like big community person, wanted to do a lot of, community service and so forth. My parents were that way. So that was it, man. I had like 3 restaurants, owned a couple hot rods, bought my own house. I was living it, and a bunch of friends came up. Actually, a kid across the street came. He said, "You watch Food Network?" I said, "No." So they have a show on there called the Food Network Star. You should go on that show. I didn't even see the Food Network. I saw Rachel Ray one time. I was at a bar and saw Rachel Ray on screen, and I'm like, that girl's got energy. I mean, listen to her. She could talk food. She does no shit. So that was whatever. About 6-8 months later, my wife's driving home from the city. She says, "Hey, I was just listening to the radio station. They have that Food Network Star show going on." She goes, "You'd be great at that." I go, "How do you know? You never even seen the show?" She goes, "No, they're just talking about it, like, the culinary challenges and all the things. And then if you do it, you win a show." Well, I want a show for her. Doing what? I've not been on TV. I made my own TV commercials for my restaurant. That was the only thing I ever did that was TV.
So none of it was appealing when they contacted you and they asked you?
I wouldn't say it wasn't appealing. It just wasn't in my scope.
Right.
It wasn't
in your plans.
It wasn't like something I was seeking. We had talked about it. There'd been many people that come to me before and said, like my buddy that was the marketing manager for Flowmaster. Remember Flowmasters? The mufflers.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Hot rod mufflers.
Yeah, sure.
So he came to me and said, "You should do a hot rod show. You love hot rods. Let's do a hot rod show." I know enough to be dangerous, about hot rods. I know just enough to get into the conversation where I bury myself. And so that was that. And so anyhow, the show, they say make a 3-minute pitch. So all my buddies are like, got to make the pitch. Got to do the thing. Got to do the thing. Got to do the thing. And I avoided it any way I could. And to the point where it had expired, like the entry time had expired. So my buddy named Mustard, we were on a barbecue team together, did competition barbecue and all kinds of crazy shit. And he says, "Do you ever send that demo tape into the Food Network?" And I said, "No, I just missed that window." And he goes, "Good, I thought you were going to say that." He says, "Because they opened it back up. There's another week." He says, "Let's go make that." I'm like, "I don't want to do this." And he's like, "Don't be, you always push this is the truth." Because I push all my friends and like, open your own business, go on that vacation, have kids. I'm always the one that's got to, go live your best life. And so I got to walk my talk. Last thing I wanted to do, Joe, honestly, is go on TV. And because I never went to culinary school, I just been cooking through my, that was my career and it's what I did as passion and living in France.
You opened up a restaurant without ever going to culinary school?
No.
Is that unusual?
I think it's probably 60-40.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
60-40 that go to school? Or
60 go to school.
That's a lot that don't, though.
I could really be off on that. When I do diners, drive-ins, and dives, 60% don't go. A lot of the mom and pops. And that doesn't mean that they don't learn. Some of the best chefs I know haven't been to culinary school and just are super smart at learning and dig in. A lot of education, a lot of research, a lot of trial and error, a lot of putting yourself out there. You got to be willing to fail. Like, I don't really think you can be a good cook if you're not willing to fail. I mean, if you stay in your lane so much, I just think that you get better chances to, let's think about fighting. Think about things you've learned, all the education and martial arts and boxing and all these different perspectives that people take to be in it. It's usually the one that has a pretty good, a narrow focus on something they really, really love, but then having the outside perspective. So for me as a chef, having the ability to understand Indian food, there's such a depth there that I'll never hit the bottom. You'll never touch all the opportunities that there are. But anyhow, so back to that, I made the demo tape, and I made it so ridiculous that there's no way. There's just no way they were going to pick me.
What'd you do in the demo tape? Do you have it?
You guys, I think you can find it online. It's.
Put the headphones on.
I can't believe I just told you to look for it. Oh, you guys already have it? God damn it, you set me up.
I didn't set you up.
Did you really get it that fast?
Jamie just pulled it up.
Jamie, you pulled up that fast.
Listen,
Jamie,
Jamie,
welcome to Sonoma County, California, home of true wine country cuisine. Today I'm going to prepare a dish for you, not in fusion, but in confusion. I'm going to do a gorgonzola tofu sausage terrine that will be served over a mildly poached ostrich egg. Now, since we're in the wine country, I'll be serving that on grape nuts. And done with a delicious pickled herring mousse right on top. And, I know, delicious. It sends shivers up my spine. No, seriously, folks, real food for real people, that's the idea. See, it's all getting messed up. People are trying to take everything off the shelf and jam it onto a plate. And that's not what it has to be. I learned how to cook out of survival. My parents are going through this macrobiotic cooking in the late 70s, and I had enough bulgur and steamed fish to kill a kid. So the idea in our family was whoever made the dinner got to decide what it was going to be. And being of Italian descent, pasta was always one of the keys. I went and studied in France and then came back and got my degree at University of Nevada, Las Vegas in restaurant administration. Been a district manager in Los Angeles and moved up here to Northern California to open up 3 different concept restaurants. What I'd like to talk to you about and what I think I could do as a Food Network host is teach people about real food, real people. Get it to the basics. Great product, great equipment, great ideas. See, anybody can read a cookbook. Anybody can come up with a simple idea. But the idea is bringing it to the table. I take people's imaginations and put them on the plate. Let me show you one of my favorites. I was on my way back from Houston where I was down there learning about
Can't believe you're making me go through
And I
this.
came up with this
Sorry.
idea. How to take Southern-style barbecue and mix it into Japanese cooking. See, in Japanese, sushi does not mean raw fish. And that's what people think it does. It means seasoned rice. So I take a little bit of seasoned rice, a little bit of smoked pork butt, and we put this together here in a dish with a little of our American favorite, French fries, and mix this together with a little bit of the California favorite, some avocado. And I came up with this idea. And as I was doing this, a buddy came around the corner and he says, Guido, what are you doing? He says, you can't put that into rice. You can't make sushi out of barbecue. What are you doing, you jackass? And that's what this dish is called. It's actually called the jackass roll. So we mix it up, we serve it over. The idea about cooking is not just about great food. It's about putting all the pieces. Do you have a sharp knife? Do you understand sanitation? Do you know where to get it from? And do you know how to tie all the components together? You see, my idea about it is there's so much more to teach. As a restaurateur, people ask me all the time, how do you do it? I can take the restaurant and bring it to the home, and I think that would be something that would be sellable. My name's Guy Fieri. My friends call me Guido. You can now consider me your friend.
Why did you think that would be ridiculous? That seems pretty straightforward. What's the matter, Jamie? Oh, your switch is fucking up again? You gotta reboot again? Go ahead, reboot. No worries. Okay. That seems pretty straightforward. I don't know why you would think that would somehow or another, like, that I was going to pick you.
I was taking it seriously. I wasn't taking it seriously.
Yeah,
the whole beginning line was
that's
such
a TV personality. That's like...
Yeah, I did it in one take. That was it. Here we go. You guys happy?
Good.
Shit, it's done.
I don't know why you would think that would be something they would never pick you from.
Well, I didn't know back then what I know about TV now. So
you thought you had to be like super professional, right?
I thought if I talked some shit and I kind of made it a joke and I told them what are they doing, I thought like, hey, I'll be so, I mean that is pretty true to who I am anyway.
What year was that?
2005. We shot in 2005. Yeah, 2005. First show didn't air until 2006. But, yeah. So I sent it to him. And I sent it on a DVD. Because my buddy that filmed it worked at the TV station. And he burned it from the camera and put it on DVD.
Back in the old days.
So I sent it in. That's it. I did my deal. I said I would do it. I did it. So it gets in. 3 days later, late at night, 10 o'clock at night, Lori and I are sitting, my wife and I are sitting on the couch watching TV. Home phone rings. She goes, no, she's from Rhode Island. She's from North Providence, so she's a little bit tough on the phone at 10 p.m. You know, like, who's calling at 10 p.m.? No, I don't know where he is. No, he's not here. I'll take a message. No. Yes. No. She finally covers the phone. She goes, it's the Food Network. Bullshit. Food Network. It's one of my buddies being a jerk off. So I pick up the phone. I go, hello, Food Network. Blah, blah, blah. And they said, is this Guy Ferrari? And I'm like, okay, so I know it's not, because it was one of my buddies. They would have said, you know, Fietti. So she goes, yeah, we got your DVD, and we'd like to talk to you about it. We want you to be on the show. I said, well, okay, what does that entail? Well, there's a contract that'll be on your door tomorrow morning. We FedEx it to you. So I get the FedEx, and I look at it, and I give it to one of my attorney buddies, like, man, they own your ass. If you sign this, I can own you. So he redlined a bunch, and I sent it back to him. They called me back. They said, you can't redline the contract that we're sending you. This is like, you want on the show or you don't want on the show.
What is, like, when you say they own you, like, what do you mean?
Oh, he says, you know how a contract goes when you get into TV. I mean, there's like, you know, we've got you for 36 months. You can't do any other production, you know, whatever.
36 months?
I don't know. Don't quote me on any of it. All I know is I had never signed an entertainment contract at that point.
Yeah.
So,
a lot of them are pretty predatory.
Yeah.
Take advantage of the person that doesn't have any exposure. If you're going to become a star, they want to profit massively off it. And
so that's where it kind of, my guy said to me, he goes, you have your own restaurant, you're doing your own thing. What are you doing? What are you getting on TV?
right.
And so long story short, I went, Lori and I were pregnant, 8.5 months.
You were pregnant too?
Yeah, well, that's what I call it. I held the baby weight. But we were, you know, we're pregnant. We got the kid coming. Hunter was 4. No, Hunter was...
Did you name him after Hunter Thompson?
Yes, I did. Did you know that, or are you just saying that?
No, I didn't know that.
Oh, that's 100%.
No.
I was, because I saw all the Hunter Thompson in the hallway, and I saw the Bill Murray interview. I read Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. I don't read a lot, but I read that book probably 5 times.
It's a great book.
Such a great book. And when I got out of college, I lived in a town I didn't know anybody. I lived in Long Beach. I didn't know anybody. I just worked at this restaurant. And I'm not a big TV person, so I just read the book. And I read it in college, and I read it again. And it's funny, when you read something again, I got that from the Dale Carnegie book. I read Dale Carnegie, and you know, you have to read it 100 times or how many times. I just like, man, this guy owns it. This guy lives it. This guy just, you know, what a character.
Yeah.
And then the more I read about him, and the more you kind of learn about him. And so I told my wife, so we have Hunter and Ryder. Ryder's freshman in San Diego State. Hunter just graduated with his MBA at University of Miami.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's where Hunter came from.
That's great.
Yeah, thank you. And my nephew Jules, who's in the middle of the two, we raised Jules. My sister died when Jules was really young. And so Jules just is graduating this Sunday with his degree from Loyola in law.
Oh,
he's in EDM music. He's an agent.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So anyhow, I got on the show. I got there. Everybody's standing there buttoned up in their chef coats. I walk in, and I'm in New York. Never been to New York. I'm in flip-flops and shorts and a yellow leather jacket. And I walk in, and everybody's like, you know, all puckered. And I'm like, oh, fuck, this is not going to go well. This is going to be a shit show. And I just said, you know what? You got to give it a shot. So I just went in. I was just me, did what I do. I won. So I won the show. And what you win is a 6-episode cooking show, which they ran at 7 a.m. on Saturdays. I mean, it was the worst time slot in the world. But they gave me the show, and I did good. And they gave me another show, and I did the show, and I hated it. I did the pilot, and I hated it. And I'm like, I can't do this.
What was that show?
It's called Gotta Get It. I don't think you're going to find it. You're not going to find this.
You'll find it.
No, Jesus, please. I don't think it was never aired. So what it was a
You'll
show.
Find it.
It was a show about. It was a show about kitchen gadgets, and I'm not a kitchen gadget chef.
Oh, so it's like you got to get one of these Cuisinarts.
It wasn't even that good. I mean,
No.
it was like avocado slicer. Like, if you can't slice avocado, don't eat it. I mean, you got a problem. But there was a cool one. There was a oven that talked Bluetooth to your phone, and that was way before Bluetooth stuff was really going on. There was a 2-stroke weed eater mower with a blender on it, and that was the coolest one. I made margaritas in that. And so anyhow, but the one they gave me that sucked the worst, or the one that I wasn't excited, was they gave me a ball, like a hamster ball. Remember the hamster balls? You put the hamster run around the house. But you'd put cream and vanilla and sugar and all this in a ball and then throw ice cubes in it, and then you would roll the ball around, kick it around, and it would roll and it would make ice cream.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kind of fun.
Yeah. So, not for a guy that has a sushi barbecue restaurant and,
Yeah, how long does it take to make ice cream by kicking a ball?
I don't know, too long. I
was thinking that's fun, but then I thought, no, how much time?
Go kick it when you're in flip-flops. So I did the whole thing, and they called me a couple weeks later, and they said, hey, congratulations, the show got picked up for 13 episodes, primetime.
What's going on there? I can't hear you. All right, we'll get some rest.
I gotta be honest with you. I'm not gonna be able to do that show. Like, what? Like, no, it's not. So they went through a series of people, like executive from the production company, the owner of the production company, yelling at me, telling me he wasted all his time and his money. I said, hey, nobody told me that if this got picked up, I had to go do the show. I thought it was a discovery for you, a discovery for me. I don't know shit from steak sauce about how this all works, which I quickly turned that. I was not going to be inside of the TV business and not be really aware of what goes on. So finally, the president of the network called me and she said, you're burning a huge opportunity. Brooke Johnson, you're burning a huge opportunity. I said, Brooke, it's all about authenticity. I said, I don't need the paycheck, and I said, I'm happy with my life. I love what I do. I like my cooking show called Guy's Big Bite. I cook food the way I want, call it what I want to call it, make it the way I want to make it. And I said, I just don't, me and gadgets for cooking is just not a thing. She goes, well, you might not ever get a shot like this again. I said, I really appreciate the opportunity, and I'm not trying to be a jerk, but I just don't want to do it. And she said, okay. And that was it. But fortunately, 6 months later, they called me back and said, we're going to give you one more shot. You're going to be a food critic. I said, nope, thank you. They go, hold on. Why not? I said, I'm not a food critic. I'm a cook. Last thing I'm going to do is go in and tell people they're doing it right and wrong. That's like someone going and telling somebody they don't like their art's wrong. Bullshit. That's not my style. So they said, well, okay, it's not that. You go around, this was the key word, you go around to mom and pop joints and you just eat the food and talk to the people. I can do. That's my style. So what's it called? Diners, Drivers, Dive-Ins, and Dines. I said, what? They couldn't get the name right. No one ever gets Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives right. That's why we call it Triple D all the time. I said, I could do that. That sounds like dives. I love dives. I don't know a lot about diners because we don't have many of them on the West Coast. And drive-ins, I love. That was always special to me to go to the A&W drive-in when I was a kid. We didn't eat fast food when I was a kid. So when you went there, that was like big deal. And that's how I got going.
Wow. Interesting. Yeah, it seems like it's hard to find, because once they started making personalities out of chefs, then you have to find authentic personalities who are good on TV that are actually cooks. So it's kind of a little bit of a dilemma, because chefs aren't necessarily the kind of people that you want to have in front of the camera for the most part.
I deal with a lot of them.
Yeah.
But you know what? I think that everybody, when you get people comfortable, you get people comfortable, you get them talking about themselves, you get them in a zone where they feel good and they relax. It's very similar. It's what you do here. I mean, I watch. People have a gift of storytelling or have history, and what can people talk best about themselves or their history or their passion? And that's what I did with Triple D. Is I just went in. I remember the first one we ever shot. I'm standing there talking to the guy about the thing, and I'm pouring coffee behind my back. People are bitching at the counter because we're right in the middle of an active service in the diner. I'm pouring coffee and pancakes burning, and I flip the guy's pancake, and I'm like, "So how long have you been making the, yeah, hang on a second. He needs an order back, And I asked all my questions I was supposed to ask. And the producer at the end goes, cut. So what, come here. So what the hell was that? I said, wait, slow your roll, bro. I said, I asked every question you asked me to ask. I said, I didn't stand there and do it like PM Magazine. I was in the mix with the dude, but I asked all the goddamn questions. And he's like, can you do that again? I said, I did stand on my head. This is what we do in the restaurant business. I said, we work and we talk and we joke and we laugh and we bust balls and we do, that's what we do. Throws his clipboard on the ground. We got a hit. And then we went around the country for the next 3 weeks and shot more locations and put that together into the pitch.
So I don't understand. Was he pretending to be upset, or was he upset until you explained it to him?
He was kind of an upset guy.
So fun.
But it worked out.
That's the problem with TV, dealing with upset people.
Well, and the thing is especially people that don't understand TV. So when I started Triple D, I F-bombs. If you cut yourself, if you drop the thing on the floor, if you shit, goddamn, if it's not right, don't worry. We'll stop. We'll fix it. We'll go forward. But I'm never going to make you look bad. I promise you that. I'm never make you look bad. You'll look great. Sometimes we stop and go, hold up, let's hold up. Great. We get him a shot at Jack, please. He'll sit there and shoot the shit about his favorite team or talk about it. I always start talking about people's family right off the bat. Talk about the family. Kind of puts people on the same playing field. Not a game. Just
right.
reality.
No, I understand. I get it. Well, that sounds like a fun thing to just drive around and go to people's restaurants and see how they do things and see the history behind it and what was their dream. How satisfying is it to have this place and feed all these people?
You meet the people that are just, bring tears to your eyes. There's so many stories, we've done like almost 1,600 locations. And it's just mind-blowing to be in the restaurant business and to watch these people, what they put into it and how many sacrifices they've made and then how many success stories we hear. And it is probably one of the most fulfilling things I've ever done in my life. It's really, I would have been done by now. Had it not. As a matter of fact, when we first started the show, I thought, this would be fun to do for a couple of years. I'll probably run out of places. This show could live on forever.
How many years have you been doing it now?
16.
16 years. That's crazy. That's crazy.
But it does some great things for them.
I'm sure it's great for the businesses, right? It must be a huge boom.
We're shooting right now. We're shooting in town right now.
In Austin?
We just shot this morning.
Where'd you shoot?
Shot a place called the Bolden Creek Cafe. Vegan joint. And I shouldn't even say it like that. I should just say Bolden Creek Cafe, an awesome restaurant.
No, you should say vegan. You should let everybody know.
Well, but here's the thing. I think when I say vegan, people are like, oh, so you kind of got to give them their shot. No.
I wasn't thinking that. I was just thinking, I have some vegan friends. If they only want to eat a vegan restaurant, I would take them there.
It's so good, I'd just go eat there as it is. And that's what when I interview people at vegan restaurants or vegetarian restaurants, I'll say, do your non-vegan vegetarian friends come here? Or I'll ask people, usually 50% of them that I'm talking to aren't vegan. They just go there because the food's great.
There's a vegetarian place that I used to love to go to in Woodland Hills that was a Indian joint, like super authentic Indian. It was in this little strip mall. I would go in there and all the menu was in Hindi. Everybody was speaking. It was you kind of looked at the photos that they had of the dishes and just like, that one, give me that one.
Spicy, not spicy.
All vegetarian, but like super authentic. And that's not even necessarily what I'm interested in, but I would go there all the time.
I want to eat great food. I want to eat food that's prepared correctly.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like saying, I didn't mean to throw the vegan thing on it, because really what it is, it's about great restaurants, with really great people that own it, or people that have a good story, and then people that want to talk about what they do.
Did you ask them why they decided to make a vegan restaurant?
She's vegan, and she had a coffee shop. Started with a coffee shop, and then was doing a little bit of food on the side, and then just continued to grow and make it bigger and bigger. It's so funny. I drive up and they got a big neon that says caffeine dealer. And I'm like, that's my kind of energy. That's my kind of smart ass. You gotta have fun with yourself. You gotta laugh about this shit. And just great character. I'm actually probably getting my ass kicked from the network right now, going through telling about this ahead of time. But no, there's great. Like, I've been to Austin a few years shooting Triple D, but I'll come back to a city and new places have popped up, or we start to find out more about them.
Have you been to Travis Barker's place?
No.
I've heard that place is phenomenal, and that's a fully vegan place in LA. What's it called? Crossroads Cafe? Yeah, I've heard from many of my friends. Like Dana White went there. He's like, dude, it's phenomenal. You can't believe it's vegan.
That's the thing about it, is people have this stereotype about vegan food.
For a good reason.
You and I like wild game. You and I like meat and so forth. But if you really look about it,
there's just enough vegan people that are really annoying.
That I won't disagree.
There's enough that are wonderful people.
No,
don't get me wrong, but there's a percentage of vegan people that are like hugely annoying.
Well, and especially when they start. Here's the thing:
proselytizing. Yeah.
Don't push yourself into somebody else's lane. Do what you want to do and do what you love. Don't go and I'm not into preaching. I'm not into trying to change. Have your opinion. Have your attitude.
Yeah, that's the problem with the whole vegan thing. Is that the people, they represent themselves as morally superior. And it's not all of them. Some of them do it just because they're kind people, and that's how they want to eat. That's wonderful.
But I think that happens in a lot of different, of course, sections. I mean, there's people about heavy metal. You don't like heavy metal, you're an idiot.
Exactly. There's
I'm into
people like
everybody.
that with yoga. They just start doing yoga. They want everybody to do yoga. Yeah, I get it.
Well, I'll tell you a funny story. I was running restaurants down in Long Beach, and then I was in Redondo Beach. I'm running a little restaurant down there called Luis's. Tiny little pasta joint, pizza and pasta. And there was a bunch of them in LA at the time. And then I eventually became the district manager for them. But, and I was young. I was very young in my career. But Hoist Gracie used to come in. The Gracie family was right down the street in Redondo Beach. And I remember somehow through a manager, through one of the guys, we got a UFC videotape, VHS. Someone had, I don't know what it was. I'd never seen it. I hadn't even heard of it. And that was the first time that we ever came aware to, this. And then, who was it? Tank Abbott was down in Huntington Beach. And we used to go down. And I used to live by Huntington. So we used to go down there and the Tank Abbott thing and the T-Door thing, this whole thing. But, you're so ingrained in it. You're such a massive part of it that, anybody wants to start getting on a high horse about stuff. I'm like, as soon as you know enough about it, and as soon as you have a platform that you really can say something, then speak your piece. But don't shove it down people's throat. I mean, I'm just not, you can do about anything.
Yeah. No, that's a big one when people start doing jujitsu. They don't want to tell everybody about jujitsu. The vegan thing, though, is like, I really do get it from their perspective, like as an ethical perspective. It's just one of those things where if there's a thing that you're trying to do, where you're trying to be kind, you're going to get a certain percentage of people that start doing that get annoying.
Yeah, I just choose not to listen to annoying people. I just tune it out. I don't have fucking time for it. I really don't have time for it. I mean, there's so much else going on in my life and so much else going on in this world. I think, why don't we start focusing on the good shit we can do? We can do so much great shit. If everybody would pivot themselves 10% and just go and look and say, okay, take everything you love and then go do that more. Mm-hmm. And to be worried less about what somebody's saying about you or what something's going on social media or whatever this other shit may be. Just go do something positive.
It's a social media contagion. It's a problem. It's a real problem.
When will it break is the question. Like, when will it stop being the center of shit? When people just start looking at it and go, okay, we're done. We've had enough of it. It's run its course. It's been poisonous enough. There's positive things to it. Don't get me wrong. I think there's some really good information that you can get from it. But the negative side, just because you have a key, I always say to these, I have young chefs that are on my shows, like, oh, somebody wrote about me. And I'm like, A, quit reading about yourself. B, look at the source. Now, if I come up to you and I tell you that your food sucks, or I tell you that you're doing something that's wrong. You know, we're friends. You can maybe take my opinion with some credit. But the jerk off that's writing about you in his mom's basement, eating Cheetos in his underwear, clucking away, telling you how much you suck. So do you really care what that guy thinks?
The problem is that people see it written down and they think it's almost like a valid source, and then they have to combat it. But you're going to combat 35 million people, or however many million people are tweeting about things.
And how many extra accounts they have.
Yeah, there's a lot of that, and
Right.
there's a lot of people that aren't even real. But it's just the nature of it highlights negativity, because the nature of this platform, what gets traction is things that make people upset.
Which what media it still is. You don't hear the front page of the paper talking about all the good that somebody does and all the money they've raised or all the benefit they've given or all the experiences they've offered.
Yeah.
What you hear about is the
Negative.
the death.
Yeah, it's a problem because it's monetized, right? It's a problem because that's how people make money, and they don't think of it in terms of the impact that it's having on the culture. But that's how they're making money. They make money by getting people, or it used to be, but getting people to buy newspapers and tune into the news. And because of that, what's going to get people's eyes glued? Not positive stories and inspirational stories, but rather whatever the chaos is anywhere in the world, and exaggerate it to make it the most salacious and the most ridiculous. And
how much can we spend, regardless if it's true or not? I mean, that's what's been killing me, is all of the truth, non-truth. Where's the medium? Who's the governing body? Is anybody going to hold anybody's feet to the fire on this? And could there not? I wish there could be a punishment you lied.
Yeah, but it's up to us. It's up to us to ignore them. Once you know that they're full of shit, and once you know that they lie, take away their power. The way you take away their power is just not pay attention to them. And they do it to themselves. I mean, in general, mainstream media has kind of, over the last 8-9 years, has exposed themselves as being wholly corrupt. Very corrupt and full of lies and propaganda, and ignoring positive aspects of people because they don't fit with your political agenda. And it has a negative effect downstream of the entire civilization, because it's just like everybody's at everybody's throats, and they're being fed all this negativity. First through mainstream media, and then it's all accentuated by Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. And
no, it's poisonous, and it poisons the culture. Unfortunately, we're moving away from it, but there still is.
Are we?
Well, I think there's a mass group that is still, buying into it, being the sheep and going along with it. You're not following it. I'm not following it.
Yeah, but we're public people. It's it's wise for your health to not follow it.
True. But I hope, and again, I don't have any prescription to it. I follow the same mantra you're saying. Quit tuning in, quit paying attention, quit passing it along, quit reading the bullshit. You don't know if it's true or not. Just talk about what you know, and talk about what you believe, and be who you are, and quit trying to quit negative shit. Just, keep it out of your mouth.
Yeah, it's a problem because it's so addictive, people are constantly checking it, and when you're bored, you immediately grab your phone, and then what do? You open up social media. What's everybody yelling at? What are they upset about? And
what's your social media that you guys have?
Mostly Twitter, because it's the only one that's free in terms of free speech, legitimate free speech. Call it X, whatever. I'm still going to call it Twitter.
I hate when they say Twitter. X, formerly known as Twitter.
Yeah.
Okay, it's been 2 years, 3 years.
I know, but nobody calls it X.
Everybody calls it Twitter.
People call it X. Everybody calls it Twitter.
Why did he change it anyway?
Because he's crazy. Same reason why he bought it.
I saw the picture of you shooting the bow at the Tesla. Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I heard the tip came right off and came right back at you.
Yeah, it blew apart. Yeah, it's thick steel.
Do you think it was going to go through?
I think if I had a reinforced arrow, so there's companies that make super durable, much heavier grain arrows, and maybe an iron will broadhead, but a single bevel, 2-blade. I had a 3-blade, too much of a big cutting surface. I need a smaller surface. I thought about it for a lot afterwards.
And I may try it again with goggles on. And behind a...
No, I wasn't worried about it hitting me, but it's pretty impressive. I mean, you can actually shoot a what like round will that? I don't want to lie. I know 9mm will bounce right off of it, but like what round is that?
Will a 9mm bounce off
bounce right off of it?
No.
Yep.
But not the windows.
No, not the windows. No,
But
but
what would cost you the windows done?
you can get the windows done easy.
Have you driven one?
Yeah.
I heard they're amazing. My buddy has one. He
I
says,
drove my Tesla here today.
"Oh, you have one?"
Yeah, I don't have a Cybertruck. I have a Model
He says you
S.
push the button and the car will come get you.
Oh yeah, it'll do that. Okay. The body withstand 9mm handgun, 22 caliber rifle, has not bulletproof against all calibers. So when you get higher, like an AR-15, 50 caliber, of course, is going to penetrate everything. Truck's metal also crack if shots are fired close together. But either way, why would you do that? Like, why are you making a car like that, you fucking psycho? Like, it's really kind of crazy. And I think you can't sell them in some countries because it's like they're so durable that it's like a danger to other cars on the road. Because, like, you would hope that, like, if a Celica hits a Prius, they're both going to kind of crush equally.
Where'd you pick up Celica? That dates us.
People still have those.
Celicas were awesome.
I heard they were remaking that. That's why. I heard that they're going to bring back a Celica.
Celicas were awesome.
Oh, yeah, man.
What was your favorite of all-time American muscle car?
Oh, that's hard. I love them. I got a lot of them. Are they bringing back Celica? Might be an AI thing.
I heard something about it.
I don't have a favorite, but it's all, I like between early, you can get as low as 65 for a couple of them. Like I have a 65 Corvette that I love. And then I think you get as old as 71 if you get into like the Barracudas and the Challengers, some of the Mopars. But by 71, most of the Fords and the Chevys had fallen apart for whatever reason. I think because they stopped doing drugs. That's what I think. I have a theory. My psychedelic theory. Because it's if you look at those,
I've heard a lot of reasons they've stopped. More EPA issues.
Well, EPA issues as well, but why make them ugly? You can make them fuel efficient without making them so ugly. Like something happened, they lost their design language, and everything started being flat and boring. You know, except Corvette. Corvette is another one. Like Corvette, like they made good-looking Corvettes deep into the 70s because they still have that curvy body. But if I had to, like, I don't know.
Well, Bowtie Mopar or Ford.
I love them all. I'm not picking one. I love them all. Man, I have a 70 Cuda. I love that. I have a 68 Mustang. I love that. I just love that era of automobile. And it's just like, it's also that era of culture. I love the music and the fact that life was chaotic and, you know, there were so many changes in the culture. There were so many
quickly.
changes in society.
Just each year made it.
Yeah, I mean, they went from Buddy Holly to Jimi Hendrix in a decade, and everything was like, what's the baseline now?
My favorite movie is that Buddy Holly movie.
Oh yeah,
with Gary Busey. Remember that? Buddy Holly and the Crickets and Gary Busey. Oh, it was great. That was a great flick. No, I brought the Triple D Camaro. I brought it. I drove it over.
What is the Triple D Camaro?
68 Camaro. It's a 68
nice.
Camaro on an LT4. So it's basically a 2022 Corvette with a 68 body on it.
Okay.
I made two of them. I've had a few different cars inside of the show.
Did you take like the new Camaro and cut the body panels off and put the new ones
old
on?
68. There it is.
Oh, nice.
That's me driving it out too. So we just made that car. I made two of them. That's not the picture of that, but it is that car. So we made two of them. I had that one for the longest time.
So you put a different chassis in it and everything?
Yeah, Detroit Racing's.
Okay,
chassis.
great.
But it's, it's just a monster. LT4, Tremec 5-speed. It's just, but my boys were sitting there.
That's what I like. Resto mods.
Oh,
I don't want to drive something with drum brakes. It doesn't stop. Those are stupid.
what's so funny to think? I have a Trans Am, and Bandit car, and it's great, and I love it. And it's a great car, but you drive it, and it's so nostalgic to drive it. It feels so good, and it doesn't rattle and all that. But boy, my assistant's Camry you know,
Dust you.
could probably take it from the line.
Oh yeah, a Model 3 will leave you in the dust. A Tesla.
Those Teslas are fast as shit.
Yeah, that's. I mean, as far as pure performance, there's nothing like those things. Everything else is stupid. But is this what it is?
I mean,
is this real?
Nothing official has been announced about this Celica.
Damn,
but,
that
400
looks
horsepower,
good.
six speed manual
Really?
transmission.
Oh, that's Forbes, dude. Click on Forbes.
It's not showing up as every time. I've tried to click on it a million times. I'm only getting. I have to get the ads out of it, and then there's no pictures to show.
Well, the one below it looks like that one that says 2025. That looks like a dark horse Mustang. That doesn't even look like a Toyota.
Yeah, so most of these are all like I think
Bullshit.
AI generated pictures.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. There's
Isn't
a lot
that
of those.
weird, though? You
Yeah.
go on and you can. I fell for the Scarface 2 movie.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, there was something going on. Maybe I had a couple of shots of Santa. I was drinking a little bit. But I was like, Scarface 2. And they did this whole AI thing. And I'm like, no,
What I've been loving is little Theo Vaughn as baby. What's that? Oh, yeah. Theo Vaughn as a baby is my absolute favorite. The AI babies, they take like podcast clips and have babies.
the things, we were just having a security discussion the other day about, having so many words of mine on the internet or on TV or whatever, and then someone could put together a whole sentence. And the security person said, what would you do if they sent a message to your wife and made it sound like you? I travel a lot. I mean, so and so, and I need such. I'm in Mexico and I need $100,000. I'm locked up. What would you guys do? And I'm like, that's a real thing. Like, no, that is a real thing. They're starting to extort money from people, and granted, they're usually doing it to older people and so forth. But it's this AI threat's a real thing.
Yeah, that's one of the real things. Yeah, we're going to encounter a lot of unprecedented challenges to reality over the next few years, and there's nothing you can do about it. I mean, they're going to try to figure out ways to stop it while it's happening, but
I think they're farther ahead of us.
Yeah, the technology is just, it's reality bending technology. You could essentially right now, just from the podcast that you and I have had so far, us talking, you could have us say anything forever. They could do podcasts where you and I discuss fucking computer chips, the construction of them, and have conversations about nuanced details in the technology that we don't understand. And it could be anything, a big foreign policy. You could talk about anything, and it would all be AI generated, and no one would be able to tell. There's a whole podcast out there of me talking to Steve Jobs. I never met Steve Jobs.
No shit.
No. The whole
no shit. You didn't meet Steve Jobs. No shit.
There's
no shit on both.
It's like a 45-minute podcast of me and Steve Jobs having a conversation. I never met him.
That's crazy.
Yeah, they could do anything with your voice, man. And it's like a little weird. Like, you can kind of tell it's fake. But this is like, imagine if you go back like just a few years ago, the AI-generated deep fakes of celebrities were super obvious. And now they're not obvious at all.
Remember the Tom Cruise one? That was the one.
That was interesting, yeah.
Yeah, that was the first one I ever saw. No, and we're just on the cusp of it. I think it's even deeper and more convoluted, more screwed up than we know, but it's going to become something we're going to have to face because they're so far ahead of our legislation that's even interested in trying to control it. I don't even think they know what to control. It's scary shit.
It is, but it's also like, what is reality going to be? Because what you're seeing right now is just a visual representation of what AI can do. But what about once it starts being able to recreate experiences? Because that's coming. I mean, whether it's 20 years or 50 years, there's going to come a time, if you stay alive long enough, where you're not going to have to experience things. You're going to be able to sit down and, just like the Matrix, it's just going to plug you in and you're going to experience something.
Okay. We're a little bit the same age. Do you not trip out that Dick Tracy had a square watch that looked like an Apple Watch?
It's kind of crazy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
When we talk to it, and everybody's like, that's nuts. He's talking to his
Okay, so
watch.
did we... All right, this is like we should be drinking or something should be going on. What happened? Did Apple did we influence enough Apple people that they just decided to make it a square watch and make it look like Dick Tracy's watch? Or did the Dick Tracy thing, did we already make the watch? And did somebody go back? Do you ever sit there and trip on shit like
I
that?
definitely don't.
You don't.
No, not about that. I think
When I think
square
The
is just
Matrix-
a normal
No.
size. It's a normal shape for a frame.
Not a watch you talk into, though.
Yeah, but it's just a screen.
Star Trek?
It's just a tiny screen. Yeah, but the Star Trek thing was a fucking walkie-talkie. Kirk out, and they'd hang up.
But then we made the Star Trek.
Yeah.
Maybe,
But
I
that
don't
was also, life imitating art.
I don't know.
It's not art imitating
But
art.
okay, well, we'll go back to Matrix then. Because I think of the Matrix things all the time.
Mhm.
Like, how real, how possible is that? We used to watch that cartoon. There was a movie my kid watched when he was little about the people that all went and lived. It wasn't too long. It was maybe 10, 15 years ago. About the people all lived in the spaceship and the little robot and the planet grew and everybody was heavy set. Nobody walked. They were all in space. What is it called? Was it WALL-E? The little robot thing?
Oh, the movie, yeah.
Yeah, the movie thing.
Pixar movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you sit there and look at that stuff and you're like, wow.
Yeah. That's what's really happening.
Okay, so you didn't buy my Dick Tracy idea, but I think that the other stuff is...
Well, when you think about where this is all headed, there's only a few different directions that one could go to, and simulated reality is a big one. I think that's inevitable. Because I think you're going to get more sedentary people, more people that are very uncomfortable with their own lives and want to live a different life, and then you're going to be able to have experiences. Just like when kids play Call of Duty all day long. Like, what are they doing? They're playing war with zero consequences, where they're able to kill people with zero consequences, get killed, respawn, and they're doing it all day long just for the experience. Well, what happens when that experience is far more vivid? You're feeling things, you feel gravity, you feel your feet feel the concrete underneath you and the gravel you're stepping on. They're going to be able to recreate all that stuff. Whether they do it with an implant or whether they do it with a helmet that you wear that sort of interacts with your brain, sends signals into your visual cortex and recreates experiences. It's coming.
You're taking this way past my Dick Tracy watch.
Yeah, look at this robot.
Oh, I saw this yesterday.
Yeah, look at this dancing robot.
That looks so weird.
It's so weird because they're moving like a human moves, and then eventually they're going to realize this human design kind of sucks. Let's make something that's better than a human.
See the one where the robot whacked out? The AI robot went crazy. And
Oh,
they were
yeah,
trying
in
to stop
China?
it. Yeah.
Like start
Flailing on everybody. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be powered by AI, and AI is not going to probably have the best opinion of us because a lot of us are annoying.
Deep shit.
Yeah, it's weird.
We're talking about food and cars and...
Yeah, it's a weird time. It's a weird time for change because we're like riding this technological wave, and we don't know when it's going to break and where it's going to break. What's going to happen?
Are we cart and horse? Are we horse and buggy and automobile? I mean, is that the energy or is that the space that we're in? Think about all those people that were in that era.
Yeah, but those buggies are shit. They went 45 miles an hour
It
top
was pretty
speed.
amazing for somebody that didn't.
Yeah.
There's no horse at the end of it, and
That's
it's
true.
driving you down the road. It's what's that noise? What's that pop?
What I'm getting at is I think that the change is going to be way more radical than just going from a horse to a Model T. I think it's going to be. We're not. There's a lot of people that believe we're already in a simulation. And not a lot of people like kooks and people with schizophrenia, but like actual real scientists, including Elon. He said that the odds of us not being in a simulation are in the billions. Because the idea is that if technology increases, one day there will be a simulation that will be so good you will not be able to distinguish whether or not it's real. And so then the question is, when will you know whether that's taken place, and has that already taken place?
The Matrix.
Yeah.
Essentially what the Matrix was.
Similar.
But that's that same thing I was saying about Dick Tracy watch. Where did that come from? I mean,
The Dick Tracy watch seems kind of obvious. It's a square.
yeah, but I'm just still
Like
saying
a TV. Your TV's a square.
most watches were round, and all of a sudden it became
Right.
a square. I don't know. Anyhow, not to get stuck
Well,
on
it's
that.
because it's crazy.
Back to the thing with somebody, I mean, you were talking about people doing drugs and designing cars. Who sat around and said, okay, let's make up this movie where you take the pill and you're in the system, you're out of the system. We're plugging you in the back of the head. You grow energy. You are the energy source now. Like we use cows for, grinding grain. Are we going to become that and so forth? You think about it, what was that, Matrix 20 years ago, 25 years ago?
At least.
It's pretty advanced.
The Matrix was in the 90s, right? What year was that, Jamie? 95? 99?
But still,
Yeah.
what we
Well,
know about
also,
AI,
the-
we can look at it and go make
March
sense.
31st.
I'm sure they wrote it even earlier than that. So, yeah, and back then, no one had any. So if you're dealing with 99, that's the infancy of the internet itself. Right? The
Pretty
internet.
big thinking.
I stumbled across this when we were talking about something the other day. This guy wrote a book in 1960 called The Man-Computer Symbiosis, which is a very early idea of what the Matrix, I think,
A concept of a human-computer collaboration. This is 1960, where computers would augment human capabilities in decision-making and complex tasks. This vision involved computers facilitating both the solution of formulated problems and the formulation of problems themselves, essentially creating a partnership where humans and computers could work together more efficient or more effectively than either could alone. Well, that's happening right now. That's already happening.
1960.
Yeah, that's real.
What was the guy's name?
Licklider, JCR Licklider.
Oh, strange
Oh,
name, Mr. Licklider. Yeah, man-computer symbiosis. Look at that guy. Look at him. He looks like the type of guy who would think up shit like that. Looks like he'd be trolling for prostitutes, too. Just saying. Maybe he did. Of course he did. I'm sure he did. He looks like one of those guys. It's just it's a very tumultuous time because the change is coming so fast and no one knows what to do with it. And there's not enough laws to really stop it. And even if you did have the laws, China's not going to stop. Russia's not going to stop.
And who do you go to for an answer? It's like there's so many people that are so susceptible to it, and it's just free will. It's out there, and people don't even know how to harness it or even understand what they're getting duped into or whatever the case may be. It's like the things that people are putting on the internet, and it lives in perpetuity. It's not going anywhere.
Well, this is all surface level stuff. The really crazy stuff is control of the power grid, alternative technology, alternative power sources. Like it's going to get very, very, very strange inside of our lifetime. But people are always going to need food, bro. AI is not going to make you a yummy sandwich.
Give them time.
You think?
Nah.
I don't know. There's something about handmade things that people are always going to enjoy. Human beings know that it's like when you go to a nice restaurant, you have a nice meal. One of the things is that a person did this. It's part of it. Like, damn, they nailed it. When you're eating a perfectly cooked steak, this guy nailed this.
Well, it's listening to, it depends on your kind of music, but listening to music when somebody's up there riffing a guitar versus somebody making a guitar sound.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, you're experiencing the person performing. Like you're watching someone up there jamming.
I think the big thing in food, like one of my positions on it, and I always tell people, you're the guy that does that show about deep fried cheeseburgers and pizza. I'm like, no, you don't watch the show enough if that's what you think, because I'm super opinionated about, not opinionated, but I have a real responsibility, I think, to show the profile of food in the world or, in the United States. And we've got to get our shit straight about what we're eating. We can't eat this processed food. Processed food you're not eating it. We got to eat the basics and eat great food made correctly, but something that was made a long time ago. Don't get me wrong. There's a place for everything. There's a place for fast food. There's a place for, things that are pre-made and so forth, but it can't be all of one thing. But people need to eat better. And, you being a hunter and myself, I talk to people about it all the time. This is a reality that if you eat things that are modified, I'm not saying genetically modified doesn't have a place, but it can't be all the same stuff. And if we don't watch it, we're going to get ourselves in some deep shit. And we're already in deep shit. Cancer's, where's the heart attack? Where's the stuff that was plaguing us for so many generations? And now this cancer thing, I lost my sister to cancer, I lost my dad to cancer, I run into more people on a daily basis that are, stricken with cancer. And I think food has the type of food and what's put on the food has a big big play. So
It's definitely a factor. There's a lot of factors. There's environmental factors, there's toxins, herbicides, pesticides. There's a lot of different factors. I was just reading this thing about golf courses or watching a video rather on golf courses, that if you live within a certain radius of a golf course, you have a much higher possibility of getting Parkinson's disease.
oh shit.
Yeah. Oh, here it is. Parkinson's risk higher for those living close to a golf course. What does it say? 126%? Wow. So found people living within 1 mile of a golf course have 126% higher risk of developing what happened? 126% higher risk of developing Parkinson's disease compared to living more than 6 miles away, said co-author Dr. Ray Dorsey, a neurologist and the director of the Center for the Brain and the Environment at Atria Health and Research Institute in New York. This isn't the first study that links Parkinson's disease with pesticides. This just adds additional evidence that this isn't just happening among farmers. This is happening to people living in suburban areas that have an increased risk of getting Parkinson's disease simply because of where they live. That's crazy. But they're not the ones to bring the pesticides. It's like secondhand smoke. They're just basically breathing it in or consuming it in the water that they're drinking. I met a guy once that he had bone cancer, and he had to have one of his bones in his legs replaced with a rod. And he said that there's an enormous percentage of people in his neighborhood that had bone cancer and all kinds of different cancers. And it was all linked to this golf course. The runoff from the golf course had gotten into the water table, in the water supply of all these people. Yeah, it's dangerous, and that shit's not even legal in a lot of countries. That's what's crazy. That's glyphosate. And that is not, I think they're linking this golf course thing to glyphosate as well, aren't they?
It's pesticides in general. I'm even looking at now, since this is a contentious new study, which obviously it would be, but I'm trying to see what the contention is or why.
You know what's spooky, man, is like there's a lot of rich folks that live on golf courses, and they think like, hey, what a great life. And are you opening, I wonder how many more of those fuckers are getting Parkinson's disease because of that. Scary shit, man.
You think about the other countries, we don't talk about a lot in our country about what they ban in other countries of our products.
Oh, yeah.
And just how they're holding the line. Remember when I lived in France, I lived right outside of Paris in a town called Chantilly. We'd call it Chantilly, which the term Chantilly lace, Chantilly cream that comes from. But I remember I was there, I was 16, and I wrote my parents, and I'm like, food just tastes different here. I mean, I don't care if it's a steak and a potato. It just tastes different. I mean, like,
because it's grass-fed steak.
It was.
They don't have grain-fed steak over there. I noticed that the first time I went to Australia. I had a steak. I'm like, this tastes like game.
Like,
crazy. It was
everything
good.
tastes. And we didn't have, it's funny because we go to school. The lunch that we had at school was I lived in this boarding house. I rented a room from this family, and they were terrible cooks. I didn't think you go to France, everybody cooked good. But anyhow, I went to high school. I looked forward to lunch at school. It was the best school lunch in the world. You'd sit at a table like this. There were 8 kids, and they would come by with a cart, and they'd put down a hotel pan full of, the whatever vegetable, whatever starch, whatever meat. We'd sit there, and we had all the French bread we could eat. And it was just like, I looked forward to it so much. It was such great food. And I just never got it. Well, and then I got older and started cooking, and I kind of went, oh, really? So that funny thing was I went back to France 25, 30 years later, took my oldest son, Hunter, with me. We did a whole tour through Europe when he graduated high school. I took him to 7 countries and 14 cities in 30 days. And we did this whole tour of where food came from. But I took him back to Chantilly, and I went to the grocery store because my best friend from school still lived there. And I walked into the grocery store. And what had been a grocery store full of huge aisles of fresh produce and breads and everything you could imagine was now just freezer.
Really?
And I said to Vince, I go, his name is Vincent. I said, Vincent, what? Qu'est-ce que c'est? What? And he's like, going to be more like Americans. That was his, kind of joking. But it had changed so dramatically. I was like, this is like, not, it was shattering.
Yeah, I think fresh food is really the only thing that people are supposed to be actually eating all the time. Real food. I mean, the more that you can get to a farmer's market, the more that you can have relationships with ranchers and people that actually provide your food, the healthier you're going to be. And the further you get away from the source, the more you're going to have preservatives, the more you're going to have processed food. Stay away from the inside of the supermarket, all that stuff on the inside. I mean, there's condiments and stuff, but most of it's bullshit. The outside, vegetables, meats, eggs, all that stuff that's on the outside, all that refrigerated area on the outside, that's all you're supposed to be actually eating. All that stuff that's in the middle is just fucking your life up for the most part. Obviously, it's a generalization. Plenty of good stuff in the middle.
Yeah, and I think that there is circumstances. Not everybody has the same budget and so forth, but I do believe that the reality of it is education is a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, education for people about what to do with real food and how to handle it and so forth. And, you know, I remember home ec was a great class when I was a sophomore in high school. Home ec, I took home ec. It was, you know, almost all girls. But I was in it because I wanted to, you know, see what I didn't want to sew, but I did want to learn, you know, how to make a blackberry pie. And I just think those simple fundamentals should still be something that are taught in schools, like just how to make a roasted chicken.
Yeah.
Like give them 6 months of roasting chicken. You know, how do you cook a potato? You know, just the basics. Because there's a lot of people that, you know, my son included, my son Ryder. You know, we did a crash course. I always made him cook with me in the kitchen, but it was usually begrudgingly. You know, he'd make things that he'd like to make. Pizza. Let's make pizza. You know, tacos. But even that little thing, like how to sear a steak, you know, what's done, what's not done, what's overseen, what's done, you know, those things. We're missing that, you know. So you said go to AI food. I mean, scary shit.
Yeah. We've been bamboozled, you know, and corporations, you know, the same corporations that used to, still do own tobacco companies, bought out all these big processed food corporations. And then they start, this is something that RFK Jr.'s talked in depth about. And then they started using the same tactics to get people hooked on these processed foods. And these processed foods are essentially designed to make them incredibly addictive. And they're cheap, and people just can take in. It's going to take a long time for people to adjust and switch away from that, because it's easy to destroy something. It's very hard to rebuild. And they've kind of destroyed our health.
But it goes hand in hand, because when you start thinking about, you know, this cancer thing and how devastating it is, I'm like, can't really solve this, you know. And then you listen to some other sides that'll say, you know, big business. You don't make money curing people. You know, it's one and done. It's over. You know, I don't know. It weirds me out, but I think that we have. You know, you've got such a massive platform, and I talked. You heard my little pitch there at the beginning of Food Network: real food for real people. I'm not saying these restaurants I shoot on Triple D you should go eat things, but it's okay to have indulgence. It's okay to eat, you know, it's okay to have your
a Twinkie
pizza,
every now and
have
then.
your pizza, you know, your pizza experience. But we just need to get back to some balance of it, because we're imbalanced, is my feeling.
But then again, you're always going to have bad examples that are good for people to realize, I don't want to live like that guy's living. You want to see someone who's like morbidly obese, terrible diet,
right?
No enthusiasm for life, because they're poisoned. You know, and then you see a guy who's like super healthy and exercising all the time, he's got tons of energy. Like, that's what I like. Like, you need to see bad examples too. It's part of the human experience.
Moderation is my favorite thing that I talk about. You know, I got into, I don't know, about 3 or 4 years ago, got into cold plunge, and thank you, by the way. You're a great advocate, and you were a great inspiration on it. I started doing it, and then everybody would tell me that you're doing it, so I listened to what some of the things I do it in the morning.
It's
and
great.
Just like you said, it is
a life changer.
It some mornings it sucks. I mean, I really have to force myself.
It sucks every day.
I'm going into this. This is bullshit. You know, okay, I'll just get through 5 minutes and I'm good. You know, I'll just listen to Paul Harvey. I listen to Paul Harvey in the morning. That's my favorite.
Paul Harvey. Why
the
Paul
rest
Harvey?
of the story.
Why Paul Harvey?
Because I love history, and I love to learn the little nuances of how things came about. And it was something, reminds me of my childhood. You know, we'd listen to it in shop class when I was in high school. And it was always that quick little in-between break. You know, they were syndicated. Pretty, I don't know, interesting guy. There's a whole bunch out there.
Oh, he was great.
I
Yeah,
listen to
Paul
music
Harvey was
too.
great.
I have my set of music that I listen to that I know this is, I'm going to do a 10-minute plunge or 12-minute plunge, depending on the song, and if I can keep myself out of it. Because as soon as I start worrying about it, it's like thinking I'm cold. But I don't do it your temperature. You do a crazy temperature. I do like 38, 39. I heard you're
I do whatever.
No, I heard you're in the 33s.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
It's no different.
It's just cold.
It's just cold.
I have friends.
It's no different.
I was telling your buddies earlier, so I have friends that'll come and do it. I started with my cold plunge. I started with a watering trough and put ice in it.
Mm-hmm.
So that was where I started. Well, you get that little thermal barrier around you. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you have to, you got to move or something. Okay, you move, now you're cold. Then I went to a freezer. Built one out of a freezer.
Oh, like one of them big game freezers?
Yeah, big Westinghouse or whatever it was. Freezer, little filter in it, had a little thermostat. You'd plug the freezer into the thermostat and then the thermostat into the wall, and then you put a little temperature in there, and it would regulate itself so it didn't turn into a block of ice. But every time I got in, I had to unplug it because they're not UL rated for humans to be in them, with water.
Right.
So then a buddy of mine, this guy Jamie Weeks, sent me one from Sweat House, his company, and then I got real cold plunge. Well, that water circulates. That's a game.
What difference is like a blue cube? Like blue cube is one we have out here. That one you can turn into a raging river. It's got different selections. So you can have like a little. If you get in it normal, it's just a slow, steady circulation. Nothing crazy.
Right.
But you can click that bitch 1 or 2. And at 2, it's that motherfucker's a raging river.
It's just rolling on you?
And it's hard to do a minute in that bitch. It's hard to do a minute.
Because you do get that little thermal barrier.
Yeah, there's no barrier in the blue cube.
No, this one is called Plunge. They're out of Sacramento. These guys, great tub. They're
the
really
thing about it is, like, I don't know what the benefit is other than it's sucking more. I think your body temperature stays the same because it's like just by, I guess you don't feel as bad because your body, like in a regular cold plunge, because your body develops that thermal barrier, but you're still cold as shit. And you get all the benefits. I don't think you have to suffer through that raging river thing. But if you want the mental benefits, the benefits of overcoming adversity and the ability to just force yourself to do something that's intolerable, then I would recommend doing that. If you're one of those people that really enjoys torturing themselves, get a blue cube.
I push people on this, and so I was telling you guys, so my buddy would come over, and I'm not doing it, I'm doing it. Just do 1 minute. If you do 1 minute, I'll get off it. I'll quit busting your balls about you being, okay, get in there. So then I'll start talking to them. Okay, I got timer going. And they'll go, okay, what, talk about this. And I'll freeze my ass off. Okay, give me your favorite song. Which favorite song? And I'll look the song up, take my time. Hank Williams, Country Boy Can't Survive. Okay. Ready? I'm going to play it for you. You're doing good. You just a few more, you got like 30 more seconds. It's already been 2 minutes. Play Country Boy Can't Survive. Okay. How many of the words do you know to this song? Oh, all right. Besides the hook, what do you know of the song? Okay. And I'll sit there and just mess with them. They'll go 4 minutes. And they'll say, okay, and stop. You go, that was a minute? Bullshit, that song's over. And I'm like, no, it was like 5.5 minutes, you see?
It's mental.
It is mental.
Yeah, it's mental. If you can distract yourself, it's
why Paul Harvey.
Yeah, well, that's why watching a movie while you're on a treadmill is a total cheat code. Because if you can get like an iPad and put earplugs on and watch a movie, you'll get absorbed in the movie. You won't even thinking about the fact that you're running.
You know what I watch?
What?
Ridiculousness.
Oh, that's a good thing to watch.
I fucking love it.
Yeah.
I love Ridiculousness. I went on there. To me, Deerdick's comments are the funniest. Steel Brim, all those guys, they'd crack me up. And except for having to fight through a commercial here and there, because that'll remind you that you're still on the elliptical. Are you a treadmill guy or elliptical guy?
I don't do either of those,
yeah,
generally. I mean, sometimes I'll do a treadmill with like a weighted pack on. I'll do like...
Who do you use for weighted pack?
What I use? Yeah. Outdoorsman's. It's a pack that has a post on the back of it, so I can actually put like big plates on it.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah.
What kind of weight are you talking?
Mostly when I go for long walks, I just put 45 on, so the pack is probably 5 pounds, and then the 45-pound plate, and then I take the dog out. But if I'm doing hardcore workouts, I'll put 90 on it, so I'll put 2 plates. And then there's a great machine called, see if you can find it, Jamie. I think it's called the Hit Sled. And it's like you do a farmer's carry. So it has plate posts on either side, and you lift it up, and it's at an angle. So as you're walking, you're walking.
So when you step
uphill.
inside of?
No. It's just a treadmill. It's like a treadmill that's at an angle. That's it. What's it called, Jimmy? The Hitmill X. That
it's a whole unit itself.
That motherfucker's the shit. That thing is the shit.
And is that the tensioner in the front?
So you got the ability to adjust incline, I think. Does that adjust incline or is it static? Either way, whatever that incline is, and then you have those weight posts on the side. So you're lifting weight up and you're carrying weight. So that guy's got 45 on each side. So he's carrying 90 pounds while you're walking uphill. And woo, that'll get you in some shape. Woo, baby. That'll get you in some shape.
Ass kicker.
Yeah.
What do you cook?
Mostly meat. Mostly what I eat is meat. That's like 90% of my diet. Meat and eggs.
What's your cheat? What's your indulgent?
My daughter is a really good chef. Not a good chef, a good baker. She's great at cookies. She makes every time she's cooking, I'm like, God damn it.
I'm leaving.
Making me some cookies. She's really good though. They're really legit. Like she made these cookies, like these peanut butter chocolate chip cookies with Nutella. Woo! They're good.
Can you do just one or two, or do you house the plate?
Well, I work out a lot, so I allow myself to eat like a pig every now and then. But like for me, cheap food is always either Italian or Mexican. I love good Mexican food. I love good Italian food. I just love, if I'm going to pig out and I'm going to eat something that I know is just for mouth pleasure, it's probably going to be Mexican or Italian.
Carbs.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
So addictive.
Yeah.
I find the more I stay away from them, the less addicted I am to them.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And then as soon as I have them, I find myself
right back in there.
Back into,
I look forward to going to New York just for Italian food. Because Austin is great for barbecue and steaks and Tex-Mex. Mexican food's great here. There's a lot of great food in Austin, but there's not a lot of legitimate Italian spots like there was in L.A. L.A. had some legit Italian spots. Chicago's got great Italian food. New York, though,
one of my favorite food cities is Chicago.
East Coast Italian food, to me, there's nothing like it. It's like that's it. That's the epicenter for me. Like old school East Coast Italian sandwiches and pasta and pizza. Whoa!
And there's something about walking into a deli in Rhode Island and New York, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It just smells different. The floor creaks. They're fresh cutting the slices.
People are fired up. They're so excited to get that fucking sandwich.
The meatballs taste different. The whole thing. So Federal Hill in Rhode Island is a real famous Italian place. I've shot shows up there a couple times, but it's not too far from where my wife's family live. And I just remember going up there and going to the delis and getting those cherry pepper stuff with prosciutto and provolone. And just, I'll take 6 of them and then I'll take 18 to go. I would always bring them all back to California. You just can't find anything like it.
You know what else I miss on the East Coast that you don't really get out here is a legit Jewish deli, like a Katz Deli. Like, someone needs to figure out a way to do something like that here where you can get like a legit pastrami Reuben, like a real one,
But the question I have about that's what people ask me all the time. When I first started Triple D, you could only get true Tex-Mex or great Mexican food really in this Texas, Arizona, Nevada, California, down in this pocket. But I will say that now I'm starting to find, because typically it's the people migrating to these different areas. I went to a Mexican joint on Triple D in Minneapolis. And it's a Mexican market, canaceria, it's the whole thing. And it was better than 85% of the joints that I've tried in these regions I was just talking about. So I'm starting to find this better cross-pollination of foods in different regions.
Where people move.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
but you got to have the market.
Yes.
See, the market is the key, because who are they going to sell it to if people don't get it? Because a fatty brisket from Katz Deli is just a different... You've got to have the mindset. I've taken people there so many times and like,
it's this much meat, and there's little pieces of bread, and I'm eating meat the whole time. I'm like, yeah, it's part of the
dumbass,
idea.
shut the fuck up.
I got to get a little
You
break.
ruined it for me.
First time I went to Kansas Deli. So I'm in there filming Food Network Star when I had a day off. My buddy lived in New York. He was a guy that was on the show with me. So I'm going to take it to Katz's Deli.
Instagram so I can see some visuals. What is going on? I'm addicted to their
Do we have any
Instagram
fucking
page.
sandwiches?
No,
I
I
almost
wish
brought
you
you.
did.
So I thought I was going to bring you food today when I went and did the thing, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not taking Joe the vegan food. I'm not going to take this.
Yeah, please don't
I'm
do
not gonna
that.
take the
Don't
beating.
give me that. I had elk sausage for breakfast.
Oh, I love elk.
Look at this. Oh, come
Right?
on, baby. Look at Katz's Deli. Look at that. Look at that pastrami. It says keto. Keto pastrami, Ruben. Oh, my God, I'm eating healthy. How is it keto? Oh, no bread. Oh, they're just giving you the, oh, yeah. Oh, my goodness. Look at that.
Is this supposed to be torture right now?
Look how good that looks. Oh, my God.
Is your mouth?
Oh, I love Katz's Deli.
I do too.
I try to go every time I'm in New York. Those guys, I see the same fucking dudes that I've been going since I was going there in like the early 2000s. I've run into the same guys working there. These guys that have been there for 25, 30 years.
And they're such good dudes.
Great
and
guys.
I'll eat more snacks over the counter.
Mm-hmm.
By the
Yeah,
time
they
I
give
get
you a
to my
little piece.
sandwich, yeah.
They always do that at Katz. They'll give you a little piece, and
Right.
they have a tip jar. And
So if people haven't been to Katz, when you go into Katz, you know, but I'm
look at
telling
that
them,
fucking sandwich, man.
when you go to Katz, they give you a chit. They give you a ticket.
Yeah, you got to pay in cash.
Okay?
They
So
don't
they give
take
you the
credit
ticket.
cards. Better have cash.
So you pass the ticket over the counter. They mark off what they gave you. So then you take a ticket and you sit down and you eat your food. And then when you leave, you go out and you check out with your ticket. So my buddy and I go, and we order up all the stuff. I'm paying. So we put it all on my ticket. So we had a bunch of sandwiches, a bunch of beers. You know, we had some soup. So we're leaving, and I turn my ticket in and I pay my bill. And they look at my buddy and they say, "Where's your ticket?" And he goes, "I didn't get anything. I put it on his ticket." I said, "No. You got to turn your ticket in." And it says right there, lost ticket, $300 or whatever the ticket would be worth if it was all checked off.
Right.
And I'm like, but he didn't have anything. It's all, you can see it. And they're like, you got to have your ticket or you pay the day. I'm like, what the? I've never been to a place like this. So we go back over to the table where it'd been sitting. Well, they'd already turned the table and it's all gone and done. And now there's 4 big construction dudes sitting there. Huge. In the yellow vest, hard hats on, total New Yorkers. My buddy wasn't from New York. And he goes, and we're like, "Excuse me, fine sirs." Hello. And I don't have the, again, still in the same yellow jacket, bleached hair. And my buddy's standing there and he's from like Iowa. "Did you guys see a ticket?" I'm like, "What the you want?" Like, "Get out of here."
You're
I'm like,
interrupting their meal.
so yeah, exactly what we're doing. They're on a lunch break. We're looking for a ticket. And my buddy happens to see the ticket on the floor underneath the biggest guy's boot. Like half in, like, he's like, "Ticket's right there." I'm like, "I'm not getting the ticket. You're the dumbass who lost the ticket. Get the ticket." So I think we had to buy the guys, like, we had to buy him something or pay the tip or whatever for the guy to move his boot. And we got the ticket.
Oh,
and we
God.
It was a tumultuous experience. I go with people now and I'm like, "Take the ticket, put it in your wallet right now. I'll pay the meal, but just don't lose the ticket."
Yeah, you have to be prepared for the experience because it's not like anything else.
But
it's worth it. It's worth it. You get the best fucking corned beef, the best
the
brisket,
nicest people,
the
the
nicest
characters
people.
in that place.
Yeah, the pastrami's off the fucking chain. That pastrami's insane. I get the same thing every time just because it's so good. I don't want to switch up. I got a pastrami Reuben.
I'm the exact same way.
Incredible pickles. Their pickles are amazing.
Slop. So I love the thing they have on there. You see that one back wall? Send a salami to a
sailor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that whole campaign that was going on still is something that needs to be done. It's
Well, they've been around since the 1800s.
such the joint.
Same spot. But there's a thing about places like that where there's also like this deep history. You feel it when you're in there. You got a smile on your face when you walk in the door because it's just this incredible history. Like you feel like, wow, this place is still around, it's still the same. Let's get up to the counter. Oh, he's chopping it up. Look at that.
My
very
mouth. This is
exciting.
like torture. My mouth.
I know. That's what I love about going to New York and eating there. I like walking into a pizzeria and smelling everything and seeing the guy pulling the pies out of the oven. Like, I love it.
And they're not always the cleanest. and they're not, and the counters are worn out,
Who
and the whole
cares?
thing. Exactly. No,
That's
I mean
part
that's
of the charm. If they redid it, it would fuck it up.
yeah. You
You
go and
redid
remodel it.
Cats?
It's not.
Oh
gonna
my
happen.
god! If you redid Katz's Deli, I'd fucking slap you. How dare you? How dare you take all the pictures of dead celebrities off the wall? Like, that's part of it. The fucking
You ever been to DeFaro's over in Brooklyn?
no,
Pizza?
no.
Old guy there cuts the basil with scissors.
Oh,
I remember
yeah.
standing there and just looking at the pizza come out, and it doesn't look like. I mean, it's just next level pizza. You've been to Rao's?
No, where's that?
Rao's is in Harlem. It's an
No.
Italian joint. We'll call
How
him
do you
Uncle
spell
Bo.
it?
Raos.
Okay.
And it is the old school. I mean, this is an Italian joint that you can only get in if you know somebody, you're with somebody. Tiny little place, maybe 15 tables.
There it is.
Oh, it's right on the corner right there.
1896. Wow.
And I tell you, so you tell me when you're in New York next, and I'll call my Uncle Bo.
What
Bo
street
Deedle.
is it on?
I don't know. It's
Click
not-
on New York. What does it say with the address is? Yeah, East 114th Street. Wow.
When
The
I
original.
The
East
floor is all
Harlem.
slanted. Like if you're sitting at the wrong part of the table, you're sitting having dinner kind of cockeyed like this. Everybody's on top of each other. It's all family. It's an experience.
Wow.
But that's what you talk about. Because then I went to Rao's in Vegas when they put one in Caesars. Same pictures on the wall, same all that stuff, but it just didn't have. It was good, but it just wasn't.
There
that
it is.
Rao's.
Look at that. That looks
That's
amazing.
the table I sit at right back there.
Another place I fucking love is Peter Luger's.
Oh yeah,
Peter Luger's in Brooklyn. Woo.
you being a meat guy.
Oh my god! And they bring that steak to your plate, and it's covered in butter, and it's crackling. Oh,
I don't even eat the sides. I'm not. I mean, everybody
Look
else
at
can
that.
right?
they just have it down too. Like it's so consistent. Every time you go there, the steak is exactly perfectly cooked.
You've been to Jeff Ruby's.
Where's that?
He's got him Nashville, Louisville, Cincinnati.
No.
Jeff Ruby's a character amongst characters. You got it. If you ever get a chance to go to one of his steakhouses, this guy, they crush steak. I mean, some of my favorite steak in the country. I was just at the Derby, and I was at his place and eating steak. Took Taylor Sheridan there, and they were pretty shit. They're like, Taylor, yeah, meat guy. I said, just,
Oh, you're friends with Taylor?
yeah.
I was just with him Saturday night. He did the
guy.
commencement speech at UT.
Great guy. I mean, you know.
Incredible speech, man. His
What-
speech, he fucking killed it.
Well, he
Killed
is. He walks the talk. There's no bullshit about that.
Yeah, I love that too.
He helped me with a fundraiser we do. So I do a lot of philanthropy. That's my, being a dad was my biggest job, my biggest responsibility. Husband, restaurateur, chef, all that. But my end game is my philanthropy. Philanthropy to me, I mean, I have so much opportunity and there's so many good things coming my way. I try to divert as much of that towards doing it. So my philanthropy is about first responders, active military, and veterans. But now that I have this program going where we can do things to raise money, and it's not just raise money, it's raise the money and then do things with it. Like when the fires happened in LA, we went down with our team. We have a big rescue trailer that's 50 feet long. We can feed about 5,000 a day out of it. And I have a bunch of chef buddies, and so they all come and help, and we just pump out food for first responders. But we had the fires in Maui and devastation, and I know the fire feeling because I was up there in Northern California, in Sonoma County when we had our bad fires. And so we raised money. So I got 40 chefs together. We were all in town I do a show called Tournament of Champions. They were in town for the tournament. And we put on a dinner for 150 people. So I called Taylor and said, hey, I'm doing this event. You want to come up? And he says, only if I get to cook. We're going to cook together. So we brought up all these, 4-6s, these tomahawk chops the size of, a manhole cover. And we cooked. And so we sat there and we raised money. We did all these different things like, go to 4-6's Ranch. You can go, have a culinary experience with Guy, blah, 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 blah. And in one night, we raised $1.7 million with 150 people in the room.
That's incredible.
And a big part of that was Taylor. I think 3 of the biggest packages sold were for over $100,000 to go down to his ranch. It was to go up to Montana to Yellowstone to see the filming.
Oh,
And
wow.
he's just that kind of dude, man. That dude, he gives everybody the time. We're just at the Derby walking around together. Just class act. We just love that guy.
Yeah, he's a legit.
And the shows he's making?
I know. I don't know how he can do it.
Landman?
Well, I don't know how he does so many shows. I keep finding shows like this show looks interesting. Taylor Sheridan show. Like what?
Lioness.
Yeah, he's got
Landman too.
10 shows.
Have you watched Landman?
Yeah, I love it. I'm a huge Billy Bob fan.
Oh, and he's the coolest.
He's the best.
I said to him, I go, did you write that for him? I mean, it couldn't be Billy Bob any goddamn better.
Yeah.
So the one-liners are the best goddamn thing. I can't get enough of it. But I love Kings of Mayor of Kingstown. I thought that was great.
That was another one.
Remember the first episode? You didn't see that shit coming.
Right.
Right at the beginning, the guy that you thought was going to be the lead, you didn't think it was going to be Jerry.
Spoiler alert.
No, I didn't say, if you haven't watched it by now, you're missing it. Tough shit. Sorry I blew it for you.
It's another Taylor show. He's got so many shows. It's
Buying ass.
I just don't understand how he can put together 1923, 1883, Yellowstone. Like, God damn. I think they're doing another one. I think they're doing like a 1943. I just watched the end of 1923 and cried like a baby.
I was bummed that Yellowstone ended the way it did, though.
Yeah.
Circumstances were fucked up. Outside of the show, circumstances.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. Why would Kevin Costner want to leave that show? I just don't understand what happened.
What I read or what I thought I learned was that he had his own project and
I'm sure he did. I mean, Kevin Costner's been around for so long. It's probably hard for him to do somebody else's thing for so long, too.
So good.
Yeah, I know. He was perfect in that role, too.
So iconic.
I know.
The ending, I mean, even if you're going to leave, my bummer about it was, even if you're going to leave, I would go out better than in the situation was. I mean, they did it the way they did it. I'm not discrediting the show by any means, but I'm just saying, I just wanted it to be like the way it was from the beginning.
It's kind of sad how they did it. It was almost kind of like a fuck you. It seemed like to me.
From which side, exactly? I'm not coming back? Well, wait till you see how you go.
Yeah, exactly.
And Taylor is a little bit, I wouldn't cross him.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of that in him. It's funny. I was telling him about this ranch that I hunt out in California, and he's like, oh, he's the cowboy at that place. Like, he's a legit guy.
He's a badass, too.
Yeah, he's a good dude, too. Solid human being, you know. You're talking to him, he's right there, you know. He's not.
Yeah, he told me, he says, listen, I know what you're doing up there in Northern California. You've done your fundraiser there a bunch of years. He says, come down and do my ranch. He says, I will bring you the people with the money that believe in what you're doing with these first responders. And because when we don't have disasters, we just go do positive energy thank yous to different municipalities. We just did one in Florida, in South Florida. We just bring the trailer in, bring a bunch of chefs in, call up the local sheriff, call up the troopers, call up everybody, you know, bring your families if you want. It's free lunch, time for you to celebrate and be recognized. You know, we got people walking around the streets that don't understand why our country's free. They don't have any idea what it takes to be a free country. And they don't understand the sacrifice, not just the sacrifices that the actual individual makes, but the sacrifice the family makes. Now, we're not even talking about the loss of somebody. We're talking about just being deployed for 7 months and not seeing dad for 7 months or seeing your husband or your wife or whatever. And I remember I was on the USS Enterprise, and I was doing a philanthropy event, and this was years ago. I was cooking for the sailors and a bunch of Marines on it. It was like 5,200 people, and I'm on the line serving this young sailor, and she came through, and we kind of talking for a second. She says, I have 4 kids. I said, she wasn't very old. I said, how many? She goes, well, I have an 8-month-old baby. Baby's on the ship? She goes, no, baby's not. I said, how could you be away from your child at this age? And she's like, no, it's, I'm deployed. And I'm like, what a commitment, what a commitment to do. And the kids without. So I think, my mantra is we talk about people pushing things on other people about their beliefs or their opinions or their attitudes. And I said, I kind of divert from all of it. And, if you don't want to like something, don't like it, that's your thing. But I am hell-bent on what goes on in this country about how we recognize our veterans and our first responders and our active military. We're missing some pieces.
Yeah.
We got some people that have made the ultimate commitment, the ultimate sacrifice. It's like this stolen valor shit. Oh, I'll lose my mind on that because
that's just crazy.
The commitment that it takes.
Of course.
And so we put so much into putting the soldiers and the sailors and all these military folks into these programs. And then when they come back, I don't think that we put the same amount of commitment. And I think that we've got a lot of people that need a lot of help. There's
For
a lot of
sure.
PTSD. There's a lot of shit going on.
Yeah.
So my interest is I'm not going to solve that situation. I'm not the one that's going to be able to
But at least you could recognize and give them some love.
recognize, talk about it. We carry challenge coins. I ran into one of your guys who's a first responder, also didn't know that he served our country in the military. Please, when you see somebody in uniform, if you see somebody with a Vietnam vet hat, you see somebody that's in, just take a moment, just say thank you. Thank you goes so far. And people think, there's nothing I can do. No, it means a shit ton to people.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to get on my rant, but it's one of my hardcore issues.
That's good. That's a beautiful perspective because it's especially with first responders and law enforcement in this country, they just don't get any love. It's kind of crazy. Like the cops are the bad guys in this country. Like that's why the defund the police movement was
Jesus
driving
Christ.
me fucking crazy. Like you guys are out of your mind.
But we're gonna have a march, and we'd like you to be there to keep people from throwing shit at us.
Yeah.
So
What?
here's
Isn't that
the
crazy? This is a defund the police march, but we need the police.
We need you. So the
Yeah.
people that are again. So when we had the fires in Northern California, I was watching a lot of where they're feeding them. It was we're up in Paradise. It was a devastating fire.
That was a crazy fire.
Joe, I drove through it. I don't know what the surface of the moon looks like, but I can tell you it was as close to it because there was nothing standing. There was nothing there. The only thing that didn't burn down was the fire station. I mean, and not because they
All
defunded
those people that got stuck on the road.
stuck, cars gone, everything gone, bombs. I mean,
Yeah.
it was. I don't know the term, but so I'm standing there and I'm feeding people, and I know for a fact because I just been inside I just went to the fire. I went and fed people at the fire station that was the only building standing, and I said, why aren't you guys over here eating? We're serving a bunch of food. Nah, that's just stay over here. I said, you guys are fire victims. Your house is burnt down. Yeah, but and you got all kinds of restaurants feeding people and all this stuff. And I'm watching these guys eat granola bars and eat MREs. And I said, come over and get some food. No. I said, okay, that's it. Next day, picked up my trailer. We moved. I said, we only feed first responders. Not that I'm not about the fire victims. I think the fire victims is terrible. But the reality of this, we have a lot of people that were focusing on the victims and giving them, which they need. But these guys were doing... These men and women weren't going to bed. They were doing 72-hour shifts, sleeping in the back of their patrol car. They drove their patrol car up from Riverside, and they're up in Northern California now. And so that's what I changed. I pivoted my whole foundation was when the disasters go down, we're going to get there and we're going to focus on the first responders. We were down in L.A. for 10 days. We fed 25,000 meals. Now, it's not going to feed everybody, and it's not going to take care of everything. But there is a point of them being recognized or knowing that we recognize them. And I had so many chefs in LA that showed up and jumped on the trailer and were cooking food. And we were almost cooking, 24 hours, just rolling over. And people were so thankful.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But we all
That's
can
beautiful.
do these things. We can do these things. We can make donate. Okay, maybe you don't have the money, donate the time. Maybe you don't have the time, do the positive reinforcement on social media. If you don't have the time, you don't have social media, you don't have the money, you don't have time, just pat somebody on the back and say thanks. I mean, we can do way more.
Yeah.
And we can make a bigger impact.
Well, just as a society, we need to recognize the importance of these people and appreciate them for what they do. And I don't think that that's been accentuated. That's not been, people haven't focused on that. And that's a top-down thing that comes from the president, that comes from the cabinet, that comes from the way the country perceives these people and the way they award these people and, the way that our media treats them. The media had a field day after George Floyd with this defund the police stuff. It's just that kind of devastation that does for morale and for recruiting and, just the overall feeling that these people have. Like, why am I doing this job where not only am I not being thanked for it, but I am being thought of as the enemy?
And then if I do something, I'm not going to get supported,
right?
Because I'm going to get persecuted.
Right, and every day you show up, you pull people over, you're worried you're going to get shot. Every fucking day. They all have PTSD. Every one of them.
You go pull, a buddy of mine's a fireman, and I didn't really understand. I didn't think about it until he brought it up to me one day, and he said, his name's Jay LeVar, and Jay said, you go pull kids out of a car. You go face that, and then you go home to your kids.
Right. It's horrible.
That'll just wreck you. But like I said, I'm so interested in what we can do. And we have so much. We're the greatest country in the world. We're finally righting the ship. We're getting into better space. But gosh, let's start focusing on it. Let's start focusing on the fundamentals that made us the ass-kicking, name-taking center, that made us the best. And we have to start ingraining. We have to start teaching that. I was just talking about, I just did a podcast for the Dale Carnegie Institute. And that was a book that changed my life when I was young, when I was opening
Think
my
You
own
Grow
restaurant.
Rich? No, what is it?
How to Win Friends and
How to Win
Influence People.
Friends, yeah.
And it talks really about just human nature, about how you treat people and treat people the way you want to be treated, and think before you act, and think before you speak, or before you light somebody up on a text,
Mhm.
kind of. And I was going through this, and I said, this is like a course that should be taught at freshman high school.
Absolutely.
And we should teach civility, and we should teach respect, responsibility.
Yeah.
We should take, back your mouth up. Don't go popping off on it. And do these things the way we grew up. I mean, I'm not saying that violence is the answer, but you definitely didn't have people running their mouth like they do now because there was hell to pay at 3:00.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. So I think that we need to get involved in teaching our young America that they have a voice, they have an opinion, they're very worthwhile, and let's just do it the right way. But I think that Dale Carnegie Institute, that How to Win Friends, I didn't know how many things they do it worldwide, and I just think I was just telling my sons about it. I said, you can all expect that you're going to be going to one of these programs or doing one of these courses. I made them all read the book.
That's great.
It's really,
people in school get taught you get taught a lot of information, but I think one of the things that's missing is getting taught how to behave and think, and how to critically think, and how to view the world.
Critical thinking to me is, even say the term to somebody, critical thinking, and they'll look at you and go, but they don't know what it means. Critical thinking is solving situations, is evaluating the environment and coming up with calculating. It's not taking a risk, it's taking a calculated risk. There's just so many of those types of things. My dad was a huge critical thing. So we had a rule when I was a kid, Joe. We'd be driving down the road, and my dad would say, "What are you thinking?" You're quiet over there. What are you thinking? One thing I was not allowed to say was nothing. He'd say, "God, full of shit. What do you think?" What are you thinking? I'm saying, well, it's all grass, but under the telephone pole, there's no grass. And then we would spend the next goddamn hour talking about why there's no grass under the telephone pole. And
Why is there no grass under the telephone pole?
Fire, the ability to get to the poles. They have to be able to drive to them. So you look at it, because like you go to the wine country, you look at all these mountains that have all these telephone poles going. If you find roads on top of mountains and so forth, it's usually fire break or access to the telephone poles. But we would do this critical thinking thing, and it was so funny. My nephew, my sister was dying of cancer, and I took him away for the day, and we're driving around in a Corvette. And we're at the stoplight, manual Corvette, sitting there talking to Jules. Jules is about 9, and he says, Uncle Wade, he says, I really like talking to you. He says, you're fun to talk to. He says, it's a little bit different than talking to Jamps. Jamps was my dad. He says, I said, what do you mean, Jules? And he says, well, sometimes when I ask Jamps, like, what time is it? I just want to know what time it is. I don't want to know how the clock is made. I slipped the clutch, man. The car burned down. I'm like, Jesus Christ. I don't want to know how the clock is. Because that was my dad, man. You'd ask him a question like, what time is it? Well, do you understand the difference between the analog? You got a digital. My dad would go into this. He was a submariner during Vietnam. He was a piece of work.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I lost him right around my birthday a year and a half ago, and pancreatic cancer, but he lived for 6 years with it. It was pretty.
You got a lot of cancer in your family.
Sucks, man. And I think that, I didn't, until you're in
you?
the club sucks. But when you meet
amazing.
somebody that is,
What's good in your neck of the woods? Very well. Do you have Discord? come to my Discord. I'd love to talk with you. It's discord.gg/rabbi, RABBI. If I send you the link, I'll get my account banned. Here, I'll write it on here though. I'll write it on here. It's our discord.gg/rabbi. Discord.gg/RABBI. Oh, that's going to be hard for you to read. Just one moment. I'll make it really cool for you. Let's see here. Is there like a whiteboard? Oh, I'd love to talk with you. We've got some friends in here right now. And yeah, it is. Yeah, it's Harry Potter Obama Sonic Tanino. I'm sponsored by them. Okay, excellent. Okay, so here we go. I'm drawing it. Okay, it's Discord. .gg /RABBI. Oh, wait, hold on. It's not. Come on, work for me. All right, it's sideways. Just one moment. Let me make it nicer. I would not normally go through all this effort, but you seem like a really nice person. I'm watching a podcast right now. I live stream my life 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year for world peace. It's a big deal. I have more data online than any person ever. Have you ever seen Big Brother, the TV show, or The Truman Show? Have you ever seen Big Brother or the the movie The Truman Show? Can you hear me? Yo, girl, you still there? Here it is. Can you see that? All right, well. Hopefully you see it.
In the fight for their life, telling you, give them a hug, give them a smile, give them encouragement, and if they have battled and they have won, recognize them as a warrior, as a survivor. You know, especially breast cancer and all these horrible cancers that that people are stricken with. We need to have more apathy, more understanding. And I'll tell you, one of the greatest groups of people in the whole world, hospice. I don't know how much you know about them and what it is, but it is. If you don't understand what hospice does, they're earth angels. They're people that come in when you're battling this. You're watching a loved one die, and they come in, and they're the people that help you with the meds and help you with the caregiving and help you. And they're just these incredible. You don't even know them, and they come into your life and they leave your life once the cancer.
Here it is.
But they stay. You'll meet them on the street again, or you'll see something. But hospice is one of the greatest programs we have in this country. I don't know if it's worldwide.
Yeah, it's in there too.
Hopefully, you don't ever need to know it.
And
it's just shocking how many people have
I'm
cancer.
also writing it.
Yeah.
I've never been on a podcast where you can come.
Well, I'm a certified project management professional. I'm a rabbi, and I'm a live streamer. I live stream my life 24 hours a day for world peace. I'm live on 18 different YouTube streams right now, simultaneously. You should see my Discord. I've got people in here who are in here all night with me. Oh, what do I do in Web3? I'm sponsored by a cryptocurrency. It's known as Harry Potter Obama Sonic Teninu. It's worth about $100 million. And I have discussions on cryptocurrency. We do trivia nights. We do karaoke nights. We do a whole bunch of things. Would I put you on them? Absolutely. Can you repeat that, please? Absolutely. Check it out. Absolutely. Come to the Discord. I'll be able to hear you better. And it's again discord.gg/Rabbi, RABBI. I have a boosted server, so I have a unique link. Discord.gg/Rabbi, RABBI. I would love to speak with you. I mean, you seem really cool already. But I'm sure my friends in here would like to meet you as well. I'm also in the Harry Potter Obama Sonic Teninu Telegram. I've been live in there for about 2 years. I will. Come to the Discord. You don't have to leave X. Just come to the Discord and then you come right back to X. Don't worry about it. But I can tell you about all that I do, about futurology, about how my data is going to make you rich someday, you, your friends, your family. It's a big deal. And then you go back to X and talk to anybody you want.
Really?
I haven't been on many podcasts.
How many podcasts you been on?
I don't know. Not very.
Which ones can't you cuss on?
I don't know. Listen, I come from the Food Network. We don't do a lot of cussing on Food Network. But you get me all fired. I got fired up on my own about this shit.
But don't you cuss in normal life?
Oh, I got to say
Right. Well, most people do. So why would they stop people from cussing?
I've asked them forever. Could we please bleep just the show once in a while?
They say
because
no?
sometimes I'll eat a dish. People say, I watch your show.
They say no. You can't.
Yeah, it's not really. It doesn't really get. It hasn't made it too bad. But it doesn't matter. It does. I think
it
there's
does
ways.
matter because it's authentic.
It is authenticity, and it is the spike. It is the hammer. It is the.
Yeah.
This dish is so fucking
Sometimes you gotta
good.
say this is fucking great.
Listen.
That's real.
Maybe
Cat's Deli.
Maybe you're going to inspire me to push this button.
I just don't understand why they would not. I mean, if you want to beep it out, that's fine.
No, it has to be. You have to be bleeped out.
Yeah. Why even do that though?
Yeah, I got a lot of kids.
Oh, kids would last thing we want to know.
Because they don't watch. Because they can't get. Remember when we had a Playboy hidden Yeah, but kids now,
Yeah, they got hardcore porn on
they
their
bring it up
phone
in the middle of school.
in high school.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
High school.
Kind of nuts.
Yeah.
It's kind of nuts. It's not healthy. I'm sure they're being subjected to some stuff that just the amount of murder they see. Kids are seeing car accidents and assassinations on their phone,
Twitter,
every day, and things that were very difficult to find when I was a kid. You had to find like faces of death.
Remember that? The monkey in the table.
Yeah.
Remember renting it? You'd have to.
Apparently, a lot of that stuff was fake.
No, really?
Yeah. A lot of the faces of death stuff was fake. But some of it was real, like the one where they took the guy and they tied him between two trucks and they separated his body. Yeah.
Good family fun. Come on over for Friday pizza night.
Yeah.
Remember when you were a kid, though, getting the VHS, you'd go, ours we'd have to go get it at the liquor store. We had a little town, or you'd go all the way across the bridge and go get it, and you'd put your, name down for the reservation to get it, and you'd get Faces of Death, and your friends would all come over.
Yeah.
Pizza night.
Yeah, you'd have to hide those things from your parents.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, now kids just have access to all the horrors of the world on their phone. And then they have to deal with, people DMing them and contacting them. Like, who are these?
Yes, ma'am. Can you repeat that? Okay, excellent. I'm a patient for... So it's discord.gg/rabbi. And you can see me from a different angle. You can see I have the coolest Discord known to mankind or humankind. Mankind or womankind. Yeah, that'll take you there. But an easier one is just discord.gg/rabbi, RABBI. So where it says there's like a plus in the bottom left-hand corner, you just type in Rabbi, RABBI, and it'll take you right in here. Please let me know if you need any assistance. Yeah, come in the voice call. There are 3 of us in here. It's 24/7 live stream. Do you know how to join the voice call? Please let me know if you need assistance. What'd you say? Why not? Oh, you know why? Because you're in this call. So leave this call and then join in there. You see your microphone and your video, or your microphone's being used in here and it can't be used in both. So leave this Twitter space, and then you should be able to join. And then if you have any issues, come back to the Twitter space and I'll help you. Yeah. Okay, that's interesting. I sent you a link in Discord. Did you see? And what happens when you click it? No. No, check. I just sent you a link just now. So it's like a rainbow colored link. So go back and look at your DMs on Discord, and all you need to do is click the link, and then it'll bring you right into the VC. Into the voice chat. Okay. Is your name? What's your name on Discord? Oh, okay. Ooh, my bad. Apologies. I'll let me see. Okay, you're not Oreo. Oh, okay, great. So you just there you go. Hi. Please click the above invite. Same thing you said? Okay, interesting. Here, I'm gonna call you, and then you just be able to. I'm gonna call you right now on here. Okay. Hey, what's going on, Oreos? Can you hear me? Excellent. Hey, do you mind if I tell you about myself? I'm Rabbi Rothschild. I stream my life 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year for world peace. I've been live streaming since the pandemic. That's more than 3.5 years. We've seen the death of a queen, the birth of AI, the coronation of a king, and everything in between. Apologies, I couldn't hear you really well on Twitter, but that's not your fault. That's my fault. It's just on an old phone. Have you ever seen the movie The Truman Show or the television show Big Brother? Okay, excellent. Well, as you know, they have cameras set up all over their rooms, and I do the same thing. I'm live on 18 different YouTube streams simultaneously right now, and this is essentially a time capsule for the world. It goes back to the pandemic, and you should know that The Economist magazine stated in 2018 that data had overtaken petroleum as Earth's number one resource, and I have more data archived online than any person ever. And that means I'm going to be perhaps a very influential person. And when that happens, I'm going to help everybody who's helped me along the way, especially you, Oreos, because you've been so persistent and had so much fortitude to stay in this call and try to connect with me. And I'm going to give you all the money that you need to help your friends and family and start charities of your own and philanthropic organizations because I want you to help the world. How does that sound to you? Yes. Yeah. Well, that's what it should sound like. I talk about things that are really going to help the world. I want to end world hunger through the use of technology such as agricultural drones, floating greenhouses, saltwater greenhouses, vertical farming, hydroponics, and cloud seeding. I want to help end world thirst. As you know, I am sponsored by cryptocurrency. It's known as Harry Potter Obama Sonic Teninu. It's worth about $100 million. And what we do is we build wells in developing nations such as Nigeria to better people's lives. Additionally, I'm a major advocate for the Life Shard program, but most importantly, to end world thirst, I'm an advocate for desalination technology, where we pump Earth's seawater onto land to make it drinkable. How do those things sound to you, Oreos? It sounds what? Yes, absolutely, and it is. I talk about other things that are going to help the world, things like anti-gravity, antimatter, faster than light technology, faster than light communication, faster than light travel. I talk about things like de-extinction. People don't know this, Oreos, but the first successful de-extinction took place in the year 2003 with the Pyrenean ibex, which was a goat located in northern Spain, southern France. Fast forward to the year 2021, a company out of Dallas, Texas is founded known as Colossal Bioscientific. They've made it their goal that they want to reintroduce the woolly mammoth within the next 3 years into the Arctic Circle utilizing African elephant surrogates. I think this is just a mind blowing goal. They already they've already reintroduced introduced a type of dire wolf. Then they want to reintroduce after the woolly mammoth the Tasmanian tiger, followed by the dodo bird. So these are going to be really exciting events that we're going to be able to witness. Most importantly, though, I want to help you. I talk about things like cryptocurrency, and I think I'm going to be able to help mainstream it. I'm going viral. I have over 1,700 people um, in my Discord, and I have um, bots that I've created on Twitter, the Twitter alternative that's known as Blue Sky, and people tweet about me every hour or so. So that's really good, and that's allowed me to gain a lot of traction. And I want to help you live longer. So what does that mean? This is all with your consent, but in the future, I want to be able to give you the money to be able to afford technologies such as oxygen therapy, human growth hormones, stem cells, things like cryonics, cryogenics, nootropics, ambrosia therapy, things like perhaps if you want things like cold shock therapy. When you were born, the average life expectancy for someone like you is probably about age 80. I want to increase that to age 100, 120 if you want. If you want to die at a normal age, you absolutely can. But you may get to 120 years old and you may say, Rabbi, it's been a really good run. I'd like to keep living. What's the next plan? And again, this is only with your consent. We may be able to utilize a type of technology known as mind uploading technology, where, with your consent, we scan your brain into a computer like a CAT scan or an MRI, knowing where every atom is in your central nervous system and your peripheral nervous system, for later download as an android, an avatar, a cyborg, a cybernetic being, a clone of yourself, and a robot, an ethereal being, whatever you want to be, Oreos. But essentially, what I'm saying to you is there may be an opportunity for you to have a digital immortality. What are your thoughts? I know. Everybody says that. So it is impressive. I hope it is too. And I think it will be. We just have to see how much we have advanced over the course of the last 70 years since the introduction of computing, and we're moving into the age of quantum computing and cryptocurrency. I know you're an advocate for cryptocurrency, certainly, as am I, and we're gonna be very wealthy individuals, and we're gonna need money to spend. Uh, we're gonna need things on which to spend our money, and so these are just some of the things. So that means that you may never die, which, if you want, I mean, that's a really cool outcome. It really makes you a different. It makes you a different kind of species. No longer will you be considered like a standard Homo sapien, but you'll be like a transhumanist. So that's what I do. I don't know what's going on why you couldn't join my Discord. What does it say when you click the link? Okay. Interesting. Do you have do you have an Android or an iOS device? Oh, very interesting. Okay. Um, do you have your permissions that allow your microphone to be used? Okay, so you already do join calls on Discord. All right. Let me think of what else it could be. Just one moment. I'm just going to minimize. We're going to get this because if anything, I want to make sure that people are able to connect with me. If you're having issues, well, then other people might be having issues, and I don't want them to. So we're going to create a new link, and we've got Oreo. Do you like Oreos? I love Oreos. Or like Oreo equivalents, like, you know, cookies with cream. That's good stuff. All right. Share invite. Go ahead. Am I allowed to what? Absolutely. You can show anything you want in my space. I'll get you a Web3 job, though. Absolutely. All right. You're doing it in the right way. Okay. So I sent a different link. Why don't you try that link? Interesting. Can you join any of the voice chats that I have? Take your time. You can't join any of them. I should have asked this. Oh, you can. Okay. Are you at least 18 years old? Okay. The only thing that I have, do you get a little message that says you must be 18 years old to join this VC? And you press yes, I am, and then it doesn't bring you in? Very interesting. Yet you could join all the other calls. Very interesting. Okay. Yeah, you can join the rest. Interesting. Okay, well, we can talk here. All right, so you want a job in Web3. Do you have a resume? Okay, so that's the first thing that you need. Tell me about your experience in Web3. Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay, so the projects of which you've been a part, what's their highest market cap? That's good. Okay. Okay. And are you an artist as well? Okay. All right, so you're really knowledgeable. All right, so well, you're doing it the right way in finding a job in Web3, and it's just about scouring the different Discords, Twitter Spaces, and marketing yourself. So, do you go into Discords and Discords? Apologies. Do you go into Twitter Spaces and when they have like open mics and try to talk to people about what you do? Right. Yeah. No, Discord's not the place to do it. It's Twitter. You're in the right spot. Twitter Spaces is the way to do it. Okay, so you go and you look for open mics or just crypto projects or like AMAs or things, and then you market yourself, right? Yes, that's absolutely right. That's where you want to do it. Okay, so let me hear your elevator pitch in 30 seconds to a minute. Tell me why I should hire you as a Web3 influencer. That's very good. Okay, so what platform do you use to promote? Okay, excellent. Ex- Excellent. Okay. I mean, you got things together, and you have your resume that is focused on Web three. Wow. Okay. Very good. And you have references. Okay. Excellent. Well, I mean, you're gonna. And for how long have you been trying to find a job in Web three? Okay, and you haven't been able to find anything in like 5 months. Wow. Okay. So, okay. I don't know your location. I don't need to know it. But do you have like ZipRecruiter or um, like Indeed where you are? Okay. So, your your background and knowledge is good enough that you don't necessarily need to shill. It helps. It does. But the people who are on Twitter Spaces don't always have jobs to offer. A lot of times they're just holders. You want somebody who's looking to hire someone for Web3. And okay, so um, let me. I have another device right here, and I'm gonna help you find something. Okay, so just for a moment, and we will. We'll at least get you some good leads. All right. So um, you can do this remotely, and that's great. Can you work American hours? Okay, great. All right. So the United States has job seeking sites. The big ones, there are a lot of it. There are a lot of them, but the big ones are ZipRecruiter and Indeed. And so what you do, like you've got Indeed right here, and I'm gonna type in. Um, so I'm gonna have to do a captcha. Okay, so I'm gonna type in Web3, and we'll see, and we're gonna put remote because you can work anywhere. And all right, so I mean, there are positions. Okay, so there's a CMO that's sort of that's Chief Marketing Officer in Web3. There's brand designer in Web3. Um, Senior front end engineer, probably not yours. Web3 events producer, you could do that remote. So there's one on here, Coinbound, that seems to have a lot of positions. Web3, you're not an engineer, but you could be a designer. Swissborg, remote. Um, you could be a Web3 grants hunter. Blockchain experience, you have that. That's $30 an hour. Social media community contractor. That's what you really want to do. And that's $20 to $30 an hour remote, which means you can work anywhere. It doesn't matter where you are. So the website that you go to is Indeed. I'll send it to you. Indeed.com. And all you do is type in You're welcome. Hey, you're right. Here's one. Twitter Spaces producer. That's exactly what you want to do. $20 to $45 an hour. I mean, yeah. So, there are how many of these jobs available? A lot. And so what you probably want to do is download their app. And so it's just the Indeed app. And you'll get, I mean, these are people who are looking to hire you, and they're real people that look. I've been on Twitter Spaces enough to know that people aren't just going to trust you if you're just shilling them in a call. And usually those people can't hire you anyway. But the people who can are the people who have posted for Web3 jobs, if that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. Basically, like, these are people who are actively hiring for people like you, Oreos, and you do what they need. That you have proven track record of successful projects, and you'd be the perfect person to host Twitter Spaces regularly or market their cryptocurrency or their NFT project, right? Exactly. So download the Indeed app and type in Web3 and remote. Now let's talk about your resume. So have you put your resume through ChatGPT? Okay, you need to. And what you want to do is have it highlight Web3 keywords. And so you just take your resume, put it into ChatGPT, and have it highlight Web3 keywords. And then you copy that, you put it in a PDF, and then when somebody reads it, it's going to have everything that you want on it. And you want to do the same for a cover letter. So if you know what a cover letter is, it's usually a letter addressed to the hiring manager that tells them why you want the position and why you'd be a good fit. And they're very easy to have ChatGPT draft for you. You want to put it in your own words, but there are some times that you're just looking for a word and you don't know what one to use, especially if English isn't your primary language, or if English wasn't if English is your second language to you. But it will have all of the keywords. And also, when you are applying for these positions, the key is that they will have the right words for career recruiting software. So it'll put you in the right categorizations, essentially. All right, so that takes care of your resume and your cover letter. You don't have to be on camera. I don't want you to be on camera, but I'm asking you for the position. Are you okay to be on camera? Yes, you are. Or do you only do audio?
At the moment, I only do audio. Like, if you personally request my image or video, something I'm going to say.
I understand, but like, let's say you're in a resume, or let's say you're in an interview. You may have to go on camera for the interview. You know that, right?
Yeah, that's no problem. That's no problem.
Okay, good.
I'm being prepared.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, good. So, all right, and you've got, you can certainly include a list of recommendations, letters of recommendations. That's all really good. And I mean, all you have to do is apply for these jobs, and you'll get one. And now here's the thing: it's a quantity game. So you might have to apply for 100 different jobs before you get even an interview. That's okay. There are a lot of people who are applying to these jobs, and believe it or not, many of them have better, I don't know, backgrounds or projects, or they know somebody. Don't let that frustrate you. If you have to apply to 1,000, all you have to do is hit a button. So there's like no big deal. you're not having to do what you'd have to do in the old days, where you'd have to go door to door or anything like that. You can sit in your bed or on your couch or with your dog or whatever, and just make sure you keep applying and don't get frustrated. I know you've been doing it for 5 months. Tell you what, it's a lot easier to apply for these jobs than it is shilling yourself in different Twitter spaces, which isn't hard either. But you get cut off sometimes when people, when you're trying to shill or just tell people about what you do, or people don't want to hear it or whatever. People can be rude. They're not going to be as rude, at least when you're applying, because they're open to you.
That's true.
Yeah.
But all the time is, as a student, at times it's very, very hard to continue. Really hard. And I'm just praying for NFT season to come back.
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to happen anytime soon. You said you're a student, and it, coding is very hard. You said. Oh, coping. Okay. Well, you just gotta stay strong and just know that, like, if you spent 5 months, I don't think it's gonna take 5 months for you to get a job, but 5 months applying for and Web3 jobs, you'll get one, and you can work these anywhere in the world. And they have other jobs on there that I'm sure you can do. Just programming AI, that's something that you can do for $17 an hour. I'm not sure where you are. You don't have to tell me, but $17 an hour is not bad in the United States for a student position. So that's something that you could do, and you don't really have a boss with that. You just do it at your own pace. So that's certainly something. Um, so you should just apply for positions. And there are other apps you can use as well, but the two big ones, I'll send you the other one too. Um, that's cool. I think that's fine where you are. The other one is, um, I'll send it to you right now. It's ZipRecruiter. So you do the same thing with that one, and you'll get a position, okay? So I sent you Indeed and ZipRecruiter, and you can do those positions anywhere in the world. So you're basically all set for success. How does that sound?
It sounds good.
Okay, good.
You did jobs around my area for me, and like it ain't it, sorry.
No. You didn't do it right. In the location, type in remote. REMOTE.
Okay. I'll do that later.
Yeah, do it later. But yeah, don't do jobs near you. Do remote jobs. And then you'll get all kinds of opportunities.
Thank you.
You're welcome. If there's anything else I can do to help you right now, please let me know. But yeah, we'll stay connected. And if you ever need anything, you know that I'm always live on Twitter Spaces, so you know how to follow me. And I'm always live in the Discord. So just know that one day I'd like to really help you and help your friends and help your family and help whatever city you have. You're going to be a legend there. And it's just a matter of time. But in the meantime, go on ZipRecruiter, go on Indeed. You'll get a job there, and you'll be able to help yourself, okay?
Thank you very, very much.
You're welcome. Thank you for being... Absolutely. Thank you for being so polite. And if there's anything else that you need, you let me know. I'm always here to help you. I'm always here to help people. And I'm always live. So if you're ever bored, come say hi. Apologies, I don't know why you weren't able to join that one Discord call that I have. But if you need me, just send me a message in Discord and we can connect this way, okay? And you're welcome. Absolutely. And keep me posted, okay? I'd love to hear any updates that you have, okay? All right. Take care, Oreos.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye. Shout out to Oreos.
These fucking predators that are reaching out to kids on a daily basis. They keep arresting people for that. You keep wanting to think that that's not a thing, and then you keep finding out more and more of it. It's like, fucking A. Tim Tebow was just on my friend
I just saw that.
Sean Ryan's show. Yeah.
What was 110,000? But see, we don't do anything about it. Again, I don't want to get into.
Well, the thing to do about it. Unfortunately, you don't want to encourage vigilantism, but that's
public square. You mean maybe
not even just it's the problem is you can't do that because some people are going to be unjustly accused. It's the unfairly targeted. There's people that you can't just. You have to have due process. This is
Chris Hansen. You ever seen his Catch Predator?
Yes.
So I love when they give the recap. I guess that show stopped and now he's doing it on his own or whatever the case is, and they give the recap. And thank God he was doing that stuff.
I know. He opened a lot of people's eyes because most of us, if you live in a normal neighborhood with normal friends, you don't have, you might have heard a story here and there.
This is real shit. They're bringing their kids to it.
Yeah. You don't see it every day.
Coaches, politicians, attorneys.
I know. There's some sick people out there, man, and they live amongst us. That's what's fucked up. And then the Nickelodeon thing, when you find out that people that were actually working for Nickelodeon
pressuring those kids.
Oh, God, man. But if you thought about it, like if you were really cynical and you thought about it through an evil mind, if you wanted to abuse kids, what would you do? You would work with kids.
Work at Nickelodeon.
Jimmy Savile, that guy in the UK. You know about that guy,
No.
right? You don't know about that guy?
No.
Oh, my God. He's the worst one.
Your eyes.
First of all, this guy looked like a guy who would molest kids. He looked like a fucking monster. And he had this show, I think it was called Jimmy'll Fix It. Is that what it was called? Jim'll Fix It. And he worked with all these like really sick kids. And everybody was like, oh, what a saint, that guy. And that guy was molesting children, like who knows how many of them. Oh, so there's a Netflix thing on it? Jimmy Savile, A British Horror Story, Netflix official site, it says.
How about getting called to play that guy in a movie?
Oh, you can't.
That would suck, because it's that guy right there must be playing the guy in the movie.
Oh, must be.
Jimmy
yeah.
Coogan. I feel bad for Jimmy because he looks like...
Coogan, yeah. Oh, my God. Yeah, you don't even want to watch that. I don't even want to know, but they hid the fact people knew that this guy was doing these things.
Well, you look at what happened to the poor Boy
Sandusky.
Scouts. Look what happened to poor Boy Scouts. I mean, I didn't make it to Eagle Scouting and that stuff, but I was a Boy Scout. Learned some great stuff. Not any idea that stuff was going on. I don't think anything happened in my troop. I never heard about it. But that's exactly what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
These guys would just go find their avenue, what's going to get me close to them,
right?
And then we're going to start doing it.
Yeah.
So where is the... You remember who was the guy that shot the predator, the karate coach that took his kid and he waited at the airport?
Yeah. Yeah, that famous video?
Yeah. That guy.
Yeah.
I mean...
Yeah, he's a hero.
That's hot. I'd handle it.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I mean, it's just... It's sick. But it's like if you were a sick person, that's what you would do. If you wanted to be around kids, you would pretend that you're really interested in helping kids. Yeah, I was in the Boy Scouts too. Nothing happened to me. And then I was in a good troop. But I was in the Boy Scouts with a bunch of crazy inner city kids. I was living in Jamaica Plain, Massachusetts, which is like kind of sketchy outside of Boston. And they brought us to New Hampshire. We were all in the woods, and they were fucking tying kids up to their cots and dragging them out into the woods in the middle of the night and leaving them there like other kids were doing that, and putting toothpaste on all your clothes because you couldn't wash it off. Like, they were just psycho kids. And they gave us 22s. That was the other part of the problem. I remember I was hanging out with my friends and I heard, pew! I was like, what is that? And someone goes, that's a ricochet. I was like, fuck this. So, like, the entire time I was at camp, all I did was go fishing every day. They had all these activities. I'm like, you guys can kiss my ass. I'd grab a fishing rod and go down to the lake. I'm like, I'm just going to go fishing the entire 2 weeks I'm here. Fuck this. There was just too many, but no one was getting fucked, at least. It was just mostly kids being just unregulated.
What a great way to fuck up a great program. You know, you get these people to get in there and do that stuff, and kids are so... You have kids. You know,
there's always going to be people that are evil. And a lot of those people, unfortunately, have had evil imposed on them, too, when they were young. And that's the really sad part about it. It's just like, it's almost like getting bit by a vampire, and then you know, and then you wind up doing it, too.
Zombie.
Yeah. It's very evil, and they exist. And then there's also, like, people that are elites, and that's their thing. Like, their thing is to do something that is horrible, and, you know, it's not available to other people. So it's like, I think there's like a sickness that people have when they have power, like extreme power, and then they, well, what else can I do? What else can I do? What else is what else is taboo? What else is forbidden? Like all this Diddy shit that's coming out. Like,
I was just gonna say, doesn't that sound topical?
Jesus Christ! The first day of the trial, did you pay attention to that stuff? I looked at it for like 10 minutes this morning. I was like, I gotta stop. I can't look at this.
Well, what freaks me out is the people sitting in the courtroom listening to it.
Right.
And there's a wide spectrum of people that are getting subjected to it, and you just sit there and go,
yeah, well, not only that, how about the fact that this guy was running this for decades? He was doing this for decades. To who knows how many fucking people, and everybody was scared to talk about it because he'd have them killed. Yeah, it's really wild, man. Evil is a real thing, you know? Nobody wants to believe, because if you believe in the devil, right? If you believe in Satan, you believe in something that's silly. Like most people believe it. A lot of people believe in God. If you ask people, do you believe in God? Yeah, well, I'm not religious, but I believe in God. Okay, well, do you believe in the devil? Most people will say no. But do you believe in evil acts? Well, yeah, well, people certainly do evil things. Well, where do you think that comes from? If evil is real, what is it about us that makes us want to deny the possibility that there's some nefarious force that is in human beings, that influences human beings? It's not as simple as like some people are bad, some people are good. No, maybe evil is a real element that you have to fight in life, and that maybe this is just something that's been documented all throughout history, but our arrogance, our secular society wants to keep us from recognizing that as an actual factor, and that's why it gets through. That's like
that's a really great way to say it, because if you denounce, okay, so you say there's no devil,
right.
so then you're somewhat saying that there's no evil, but you're not branding evil with some type of identifying factor. Then you kind of glaze over it, right, a little bit. I think that's what I'm hearing you're saying, and I agree with it, because it gets a little too. I think people want tangibility. I think people like to be able to understand things and see it for real and so forth. But when you start just talking about root evil, when you start looking at things, like I went to the Oklahoma bombing memorial, and when you look at shit like that, you think about the hate on this country and in the 9/11, and you think, or you just take it down to the Boy Scout troop leader or you take it to you take it whatever. Yeah. There is a common denominator there, and that is just what you call it, evil. So call it devil, don't call it devil, but call it evil. The evilness is just, in not being aware of it or not allowing ourselves to believe it, I think is part of the.
Well, it's the old quote: the greatest trick the devil ever pulled is making people believe he doesn't exist.
Also.
But if you want to be thought of as a serious person, you never consider the devil. Like, oh, come on. There's no Satan. That's
down there burning out.
Yeah, outrageous. Get away. Yeah,
so how do you boy, this goes in a lot of goddamn this goes down some rabbit holes.
Yeah, well, there's rabbit holes in life, Life is a lot of rabbit holes.
But see, to me, this is when we talk about critical thinking. This is the stuff that when you really sit down and you have some conversations, besides arguing whose team is better, this is the type of stuff that you really have to get into some perspective. You can learn a lot.
Yeah.
If you're willing to talk about things and you're willing to open up, and you're willing to be wrong. It's one of the things I'm always into is don't go into something with a predisposed opinion about it and be so hell-bent on it's your way. Because you might really get your mind changed, or you might really learn something about it. But as soon as you lock down on it's this way,
right. And there's no devil.
Yeah,
well, God's not real. Like
I deal with it.
When you die, you just die. How the fuck do you know, bitch? Have you been dead? Like, what are you talking about?
Do you believe? So, have you ever been to a medium?
A medium, like a psychic medium? Yeah. No, not a real one.
Okay, so
I don't think that. I'm not like one of those people that says they don't exist. I think it's possible.
I was a very not anti-preaching, but anti. So my mom believes in it. Mom did. My wife does. Wasn't my cup of tea. Mm-hmm. Not saying bad, just wasn't my cup of tea. My sister died, real close with my sister, and I kept getting this weird feeling. I mean, my wife's not telling me to go. My mom's not telling me to go. No one's saying a thing to me. Then the hawk is a representation of my sister. I'm driving my big RV cross country with my family. Every year we do a big, huge road trip with the family. This hawk flies outside of my window. 5 minutes. No shit. It was a real 5 minutes. Mm-hmm. Flew along the freeway with me as fast as I was going. Dirt road. I was like, so I asked my mom, who was the lady, to call. So I went and had this thing. Didn't know me very well. Didn't know much about me. I had the most mind-blowing experience. Like, mind-blowing.
And I had to really sit there. I had to go back to my wife and my mom and say, okay, there's something out there that's going on that's bigger than us, than I can comprehend. And the way I kind of, to make sense of it for myself, because I have to make sense of it, is if you're a baby laying in a bassinet and you can smell and you can breathe and you can poop and you can eat and you can sleep and giggle, but I can talk to you. I can talk to you, but the baby can't understand me. But there's some transmission of connection,
Right.
Make it giggle.
Yeah.
At this stage, am I the baby in the bassinet and my sister's trying to talk to me, and like I'm just kind of getting it, but I'm not. But is that possible? The older I get, the more I start to buy into, there's got to be something else. There's no way it can be all this and not be something more. It doesn't vaporize, go away. So the other day, maybe 6 months ago, sitting in a hot tub, I had my routine of hot sauna, cold plunge, hot tub, infrared. I do all that. But I'm sitting there, and I keep getting this thing. I gotta call this medium lady. And I texted her, and I said, hey, can I come see you? And she goes, yeah. She goes, your dad's been hitting me up quite a bit. Dad wants to talk to you.
Your dead dad.
My dead dad.
Has been hitting her up.
To get in touch with me, to make...
Does she know that your father's dead?
She knows my dad. Yeah, she knew my dad's dead. But the point was, and there was more intricacies about it, but she said, yeah, he's been talking about it. She goes, were you just in Mexico? I said, yeah. Should you do something about him in Mexico? Something about an owl? There's no way in a million years she would know this.
An owl?
Yeah, my dad comes back as an owl. So he said it was going to be as an owl.
This is what he was saying to her?
To me.
To you?
Yeah, this is before he died.
Before he died, he said, I'm going to come back as an owl?
No, the owl was the thing. Wise guy.
Okay.
And I hung.
Owls are dumb as shit.
I don't know.
Isn't that crazy?
I don't know. I've never seen it. Smarter than they scare the shit out of me.
No, they're really dumb birds.
That's great. That's what my dad would talk about. Thanks a lot, Jimmy.
No, I'm not saying your dad's dumb. I'm just saying it's weird that we all have this idea of owls being wise. I talked to this lady who trains birds. She says they're
the dumb ones?
Dumbest birds. It's like the only dumber than them is emus. It's like emus are dumb as shit.
I just saw emus on a ranch yesterday.
She's like, we have this idea that owls are really smart.
Well, whatever the case is. Okay. I hung up a stained glass owl where my dad used to sit in our house in Mexico. There's no way. So I don't know. I'm not cheering or preaching. There's something bigger going on there.
Have you ever heard of the telepathy?
I know people are looking at me going, guys fucking crazy, but it really is there's got to be something else.
Have you ever heard of the telepathy tapes?
No.
The telepathy tapes are this podcast this woman put together from her work with nonverbal autistic kids and their families. Nonverbal autistic kids and their mothers in particular have an incredible, measurable psychic bond where the mother can be in another room. The mother can look at images. The kid will be able to write down what the mother sees. The mother could be reading things, and the child will write down what she's reading. And it turns out these kids have abilities that are unexplainable. She documented a nonverbal autistic kid who had the ability to read hieroglyphs. They have the ability to read languages that they've never studied. It's very strange. And that they all meet up on some place called The Hill. Psychically, they meet up together, and they all describe it. So some place psychically where all these nonverbal autistic kids get together. Yeah, so this documentary, the telepathy tapes, is very well researched. What they're doing, they made sure they covered up any reflective surfaces. They checked everybody for wires. They scanned the room for any device that could possibly transmit information. It was nothing.
Right.
And these children were able to do this like 100% of the time. It's a real documented phenomenon that a lot of people were reluctant to believe in. You know, because it's one of those things, you believe in it all, you believe in fucking fairy tale, superstition shit, you're a sucker. But no, it's real. There's some sort of a bond that exists. And the more people that I've talked to about this think that it's not that this is an emerging phenomenon in human beings, but it's a neglected aspect of our senses.
Of awareness.
Because of language and because of media, we're being exposed to things all the time. So we've kind of let that part of our brain atrophy. But that's intuition. That's when you know things about someone. You meet someone, you know they're full of shit. You know, some people, you meet them and like right away, like, get me the fuck away from this guy. You know what I mean? Like,
I got it.
you feel their
Energy.
spirit.
They call it. You feel someone's energy, right?
Yeah, but there's something real to that. And if you're in tune to it, you'll live a better life because you'll make better decisions. Because you'll feel that energy and you'll go, I see where this is going.
I've had this. Yeah, this thing has been going on. So it was funny because when I said to the medium, I said, I'm here. Where's my sister? She said, oh, she doesn't need to talk to you. I said, what the I said, I just made this whole thing to come here. She said, she talks to you every day. She talks to you all the time. Because I was raising her kid. My parents, you lived with my mom and dad, lived right next door to us. Lori and I have the 2 boys, Hunter and Ryder, but we're all big family within the same acre. And I'm like, wow, it is happening. I get all these things because I'm thinking about things I'm talking to Jules about, things I'm working with Jules about as a young boy, and just all these things, and a lot of it coming from things I think of my sister. And I don't know. This is way outside of the spectrum of anything I ever talk about. Yeah. I mean, I tell my close friends about it, and probably people watching this now saying, isn't that guy that does the show about the pizza? Where's he coming off on this talking to his dad, the owl, the non-smart bird? But I believe, well, you would have seen the stories about somebody that's autistic and then they can just hear a song and play the piano.
Yes.
I mean, that's not hocus pocus. No. That's not fake stuff. This is really, our brains are so much more powerful than it's like talking to people I have a buddy of mine that's from Germany. He speaks 4 languages. He's a pretty smart guy, but he speaks 4 languages. They all get taught English in school while they get taught German from a young age, from like 1st grade. Yeah. So they all, most of them all know how to speak a second language. But once you can learn the language and learn how to adapt the languages, you have the opportunity to, be more, available to learn other languages. You sit there and look at it and go, man, do we not utilize, how much do we use? Yeah, we distract ourselves with a lot of nonsense. But that's also like the difference between like an athlete and a sedentary person. Like obviously your body can do a lot more than you're asking of it, but there's something about autistic kids. They tap into some aspect of the brain that's just unavailable to you and I. Like there's this one kid who flew over Manhattan in a helicopter and then did a absolutely picture perfect detailed drawing of the skyline just from memory. Photo, yeah. And you watch him draw it, you're like, this is insane. And then you see the actual photo of the skyline, you're like, how? Here it is, this kid. I mean, this is incredible, man. So this kid's, look at that. How insane is that? From flying over one time? From fucking memory. Just from memory. I mean, this is incredible, man. Look at this. It's so nuts, man. Like, he remembers everything he saw. And then he's drawing it. And he's doing it in perspective. Joe, he's not drawing a picture. He's he's doing a billboard. Yeah, he's not, it's a huge thing. And he's doing every fucking window, man. This kid remembers everything. It's nuts. I work with a program called Best Buddies. Never heard of it. Working with intellectually disabled adults and kids. Had a cousin with intellectual disabilities. I just thought everybody had a cousin that was a little different, a little unique, and super major part of our family, Doug. And so I learned about this program, Best Buddies, and it was started by Anthony Shriver, who's Eunice Shriver's son. Eunice Shriver started the Special Olympics. And Sergeant Shriver started the SEC, the Shriver Kennedys, that whole group,
Mm-hmm.
So anyhow, I work with this program, and I work with these intellectually disabled adults and kids called Best Buddies. And when I got involved, it was Tom Brady hosting a celebrity football game at Harvard. Everybody would come and get involved, and the buddies that were athletic would participate. And I was just there because I was invited to go. So I had to do something. So I cooked. I made appetizers for the event. And it was so funny how these buddies would gravitate towards me. And they wanted to cook. Food's that common denominator of all people. And so we really have developed the program into this Best Buddies program where we got all the buddies partnering with chefs. And the buddies love to do the repetitive, but love to things that are laid out, organized, and put them together and so forth. But just an amazing group of people and huge hearts and huge energy and never a bad day. Always a smile, always happy, always want to give you a hug. There's just so many. But again, when we were talking about things that get glazed over, things that get, you had school, you had the special ed group, and they went off to their space. And we never really, I think, educated people how to work inside or work with or understand or have the compassion to understand, people with disabilities. And fortunately, I think we're getting better at it. I think our country our world is starting to, but when we can look at that and take that appreciation and see that and not see that as weird, but take that and appreciate it and think it and say, wow, here's somebody that's taking a difficulty or a major difficulty and doing something with it. And I think we need to open our minds up more to that stuff. There's a lot.
We don't really understand all that the mind is capable of. When you see someone do something like that, you're like, why is that available to an autistic kid and not available to everyone else? Like, what is it about that? Like, what is it about whatever he's missing in his ability to communicate? Or I don't know if he's nonverbal. I don't know what that young man's issues are in particular, but clearly there's something that doesn't work well, so something else works in an extraordinary way. And this is a thing with like some of them that are just geniuses when it comes to music or mathematics or whatever it is. Right. Like it's like the brain has this insane potential in all sorts of weird ways, and which brings us back to like how much of the problem is like what we're distracting our brains with every day. And what kind of fuel are you feeding your brain? You're feeding your brain a bunch of bullshit and nonsense and gossip and negativity.
And how much we're not paying attention to.
Yeah.
How much we're not paying attention to. Because like I was just saying, when that now becomes, because we can chronicle it and we can see the video of it, it gets on social media, we can be aware of it. There's the positive side of social media. But there's so many of these buddies, like this young lady got up and sang the other day at this event. And, very non-communicative and when you just see her on the, but once she got on stage, she just blossomed into this, this other person. So I think that we're hopefully starting to take some recognition to the fact that there's more potential and it should be recognized.
Yeah.
It's trippy.
It is trippy. It's trippy when you see these savants and you wonder like, what is it about them that makes them so extraordinary? And is this going to be more people like that in the future? Like, obviously cavemen couldn't do that, but these people could do that. Is going to be more people like that in the future? Will there be more savants? Like where is the human species headed?
But then do we have some of these people that we don't call them savants or so? But there's some people that have invented some shit and created some stuff and took some recognition, some awareness to, bacteria's becoming, Louis Pasteur. I mean, there's some people that have some higher thinking power that you've taken us down some paths that, it's like the computer and all of that. That was, I can lose, you can lose yourself in it. That somebody was able to, I do it with architecture. When I look at a building and you look at these gigantic skyscrapers, and I'm happy when I can build a woodshed that's square, that everything lines up correctly, but somebody's going to do this out of steel and cement and glass and all this thing, and they just build that and it's perfect. And you just look at that and go, wow, what goes on in their mind? Because I'll make you a really good pasta dish right now.
Well, there's a place for everybody in this world. That's the thing. It's like whatever their personality is, the way their mind works, it's suited to architecture. Yours is suited to food. Some suited to music. There's some people that are, comedic geniuses. There's some people that are artistic geniuses. It's like, that's the beautiful thing about life. It's the most difficult thing for young people is to find the correct path. And the worst thing is when you're on the wrong path and you just live a life of suffering and you wish you were doing something else. That's the saddest thing to me, is someone who really wants to do something else. I mean, that's the classic song, right? Let's sing us a song, You're the Piano Man.
It's fostering. So what I try to do when I speak to young kids or classrooms or schools or whatever I do, I say, quit chasing the dollar. Quit looking at it thinking, I want to make the money.
Right.
I just say, the first thing I say, what makes you happy?
Right.
What do you enjoy? Because if you enjoy it, it's not a job. If you enjoy it, you'll be able to put so much more time and energy into it without being tired. Go be your best self and go find what you love in life. And if you do that, it's going to come. See, the ability to survive, the ability to live and have a house, it will come to you. Now, that's not to say just because you love art means that you're going to be Picasso tomorrow and you're going to do it. You might have to actually go put in some hard work and take an art class. You're going to have to do some shit. But you got to, and that's the other thing we're missing. Hard work?
Yeah.
Let's remember that.
Yeah.
Anybody says that there's no such thing as a 9-to-5 job. I work every single day, all the time. I mean, if I'm having fun, if I'm out, ripping it up, I'm at stage, I'm having fun. But it's always going to be work. It's always coming back to taking care of business. But I just think that when people start getting lost with that, one of the things I hope that the nucleus around these kids is that we foster imagination, foster critical thinking, back to what we were saying, and foster them into achieving their goals, help them write goals, help them have belief. We can't just set them away. They're getting lost in their phone and believing that they're going to be a TikTok star.
Yeah, that's a problem. That's a problem. But when you ask kids, like, what do they want to do, a large percentage of them just want to be famous. Because they see these famous people and they see, like, oh, look at that guy's got a Ferrari. Look at that guy's got a big house.
Mind blowing, though.
It's mind blowing.
And it's such a false reality.
Yeah, but it's also a reality for some people. So it's like what they're looking for. And it's also the thing that they're getting on their phone all day long. They're getting people who are doing it. And you can do it. It's a really crazy statistic. 10% of girls that are between 18 and I think like 25 are on OnlyFans.
What?
Yeah, 1 out of 10 girls are posing on OnlyFans. And here it gets even crazier. I think